And welcome to our 2019-2020 Region 9 Basketball Boys Media Day. And we are going to have some fun for the next 3 hours straight. Devin Dixon with you, Andy Griffin, Mike McGarry, Andy Thompson. All of us here at Sports Radio 97.7 ESPN excited to bring you high school basketball coverage all season long. And appreciate some great sponsors bringing our Media Day coverage today. Intermountain Sports Performance. They got a new second location at the Nets on Fire. And they're going to be having an open house on Wednesday, as well as Bloomington Country Club. And let's get right to it. We've got a loaded show today. We're going to hear from Pineview, Dixie, Snow Canyon, Canyon View, Huracan, Desert Hills, Cedar, and then the new school, Crimson, over the next 3 hours. We'll also get you our Region 9 preseason awards, the MVP, and the expected order of finish. But in the building, our first team is ready to go. Let's meet the Pineview Panthers. Here joining us is Coach Eves. And we've got, representing the Panthers, their starting lineup, all 5 seniors, Ryan Hopper, Michael Moore, Jared Sudweeks, Tavian Shepard, and Jared Kohler. And Coach, not your first rodeo. You know how this works. Going to turn the time over to you to talk about the offseason, talk about the core guys you got coming back, and give us an overall outlook and preview for the Panthers this year.
Yeah, perfect. We had a good offseason. You know, a lot of work, especially in the spring and summer. Went to Dixie State, went up to a little showcase up north. We, finished the summer off down in Vegas at a little tournament to kind of see where we were at athletically with a couple teams. So that was fun. Just trying to lift hard and just get extra work in. Like you can see, we got our 5 starters back from last season. Just looking for some guys to come off the bench and contribute, and I think we got the right guys for that. So we're excited. It's gonna be a lot of fun this year.
How much pressure is there knowing you guys were 10-2 last year and trying to repeat and then take that next step and win that state championship?
Yeah, I think that's the goal. We just one game at a time. Got to go out and win, and compete every game. It's not. I don't think there's any pushover team in the region, like you guys know. Every year it's a grind. It's every day is a battle. So we're just taking that approach this year. We're gonna take it one game at a time and keep getting better.
Ryan, welcome to the broadcast. Pineview guys, great to have you here. 10-2, fantastic year last year. It was fun to watch you guys progress as the season went along. As you were talking about the off-season, Coach, I always wonder, everybody says, we had a great off-season. How well does that translate to the actual in-season? Because almost every coach says we had a great off-season.
Yeah. I would like to think it translates when you got a lot of guys back that know your system. I mean, it was one of the funnest off-seasons I've had since I've been a coach. Just easy. It was easy to get in and out of stuff and do our thing. Like you say, you hope you have a good off-season, but I think it's going to translate this year. I think we played some big schools in the summer that gave us a look of, if we want to be at the top of the end, you got to beat the best of the best. So that was good to see some teams like that.
You come out obviously well last year. Is it harder to come back with 5 guys that played starting for you last year, or is it harder to put together a brand new 5, or does it matter? You just put them on the court and see what happens?
It was funny last year. We kind of had our top 8 all spring, all summer, so they all fit in pretty well. And a couple with injuries and things, the lineups changed. So really, we kind of had a pretty good idea. We're going into this year a little more like who's going to come up, big off the bench, who's going to contribute. I think everybody knows what we've got as far as our first 5, but who's going to be that main guy coming in and giving us some solid minutes.
I'm curious, Coach, since you've taken over the head coach at Pineview, you kind of coach your personnel. In the last couple of years, it's been a lot of 3-point shooters, a lot of tempo. Obviously, with 5 guys returning, we're kind of expecting that, maybe even a faster pace this season, I'm guessing. Yeah,
the nice part about these guys is they've all spent time on their game. Especially Jared Kohler and Taven have improved their shot even more than last year. So, we definitely are. I think we're a good 3-point shooting team, but the region's not huge either. So I think we still have a chance to get the ball inside and attack the rim a little bit.
Coach, size up the rest of the region. Is typical Region 9. You see it kind of reloading. I mean, some guys that were underclassmen like your team, they got some experience now, and it looks like it's going to be a dogfight again.
Yeah, you had Crimson, I think, will be competitive, and you have every other region team from last year that, they're all going to be competitive. I can't see any, just any pushovers really. There's a lot of good juniors in this region, good classes.
I want to pigtail off of Andy's question and talk about any changes. Are you going to run a lot of similar stuff that you did last year, or do you got a lot of new wrinkles this year that you guys are putting sets in for?
We're trying to let Hopper make some more plays a little bit more this year, because he's just so well getting to the hoop and does a good job of getting guys involved, and spacing the floor. We don't have it like you can see. We don't have a true big that we're gonna, like we have in the past, throw it in, just back to the basket kind of a guy. So we're gonna let these guys go a little bit on offense, and we still have some of our same stuff from last year, but we put a little bit more this year. Yeah.
I want to ask you a question. I'm probably going to ask every coach today. Is basketball's changed the last few years, especially with what the Golden State Warriors have been able to do in professional basketball, where it seems like every kid wants to shoot the three, and the ones that are good at it shoot it, and the ones that aren't that good at it still are shooting it. As an old school coach like you are, Ryan, how has that affected the way you coach these guys?
I mean, I think Andy Thompson hit it on the head. Your personnel changes every year. You look at us 3 years ago, we were huge. We had guys that were 6'8", I still believe in getting the ball inside, whether it's attacking the hoop or throwing it in or attack and kick out, maybe a dump in. But it's definitely changed. The game, all in all, is a lot about shooting the three.
With the switch, of course, of the new team coming in this year, I always ask this question thinking I know the answer as it comes out here, but do you look at the schedule, the game, now you got to play some conference games a little earlier and you got to have so many before the first of the year. Does that affect what you do in preparation, or is it you bring whoever you want and we'll play them?
A little bit of both. I think it's hard. I mean, we're playing Desert Hills game 4. I mean, a week from tomorrow we're playing our first region game. That's just, to me, that's just crazy. Like we're trying to get ready, and you really don't have a game off with the new RPI, so you got to treat every game like a region game almost, so that you can hopefully get that that high seed.
Coach, I thought last year one of the most impressive things about your team was the balance. You had the finesse, but then you had some mean dudes like Taven was so good last year getting rebounds or tearing the ball away from somebody, but Connor Brooksby and Dallin, both those guys are obviously gone. How do you feel about that aspect of your team this year, just the toughness, wrestling the ball away from somebody, getting a key rebound, stuff like that?
We got a few football guys that are some juniors and sophomores are going to come in, and they bring. I mean, ask these 5, they go against them every day. They bring. I mean, we got some physical couple. The tackles, our center from football, big strong kids that are. Hopefully we're trying to get that. Let's replace Brooksby with five charges in one game. Guys that are the dirty work guys. I think we've got a couple of those this year, so that'll be nice.
All right, let's bring in the players, and then we can circle back to Coach Eves and get some final questions. Pineview Panthers with us here. We've got Ryan Hopper, Michael Moore, Jared Sudweeks, Taven Shepard, and Jared Kohler. I wanted to go to Ryan first. Ryan, you averaged 4.5 assists last year. Just heard Coach say, he's turning loose, wants to drive and kick a little bit more. Do you have a number in mind, or is there a goal on how many helpers you can get in a contest per average per game?
Just as many as I can. That's really about it. Just trying to attack as much as I can and get my teammates open as much as I can. So.
This early in fall camp, how do you feel the chemistry is?
I feel like it's pretty good because we've all been playing with each other for several years, and even the kids under us, we've been playing with them for quite a while, so it was pretty good this summer.
Mike hasn't ran an out route when he was supposed to run an in route yet.
A couple times he has.
Let's go to Michael. Michael is probably a little different. Cuts are different. Game speed's different. Yeah. But, I mean, hoops kind of always been your first love. You had that breakout couple seasons in football. Talk about the difference and getting the basketball legs back under you.
Yeah, for the first week, I was a little rusty just coming off football. But, I mean, I stayed shooting during the season, so I'm ready to go.
Suds, ask you about the three-point shot. Now, when I played and when Coach Eves played, the three-pointer was kind of like mashed potatoes at a turkey dinner. It was a side dish. Now the three-pointer is the turkey. And you're probably the best in the region, or one of the best in the region, at shooting the three-point shot. How is that in your mind? Do you think about shooting the three every time you get it, or are you trying to integrate some inside stuff too?
Probably three-point shot, probably.
Yeah.
Well, usually if I miss, my teammates get mad at me if I don't shoot it again. So I kind of just shoot a lot.
Nothing wrong with that, I guess, as long as you get the green light from the coach, right?
Yeah.
Suds, what's a week like? How many threes do you put up in the off season? Give the kids at home an example of what it takes to shoot the three as good as anybody in Region 9.
I usually go till I usually hit like a lot in a row. I don't know, kind of at least 500 a day of just around the perimeter, just either on the gun or having my dad rebound for me. I usually try to get up a lot.
David, let me go to you with a question here. Obviously, you had, looking back at last year's stats, pretty good. Do you have a favorite? Points, rebounds, assists, whatever it takes, or what do you like to do when you get out on the court?
I don't think I really have a favorite. A little bit of everything. I like to score a little. I obviously like to get a lot of rebounds. Yeah, just a little bit of everything, really.
Let me ask Jared the same question. Any favorite you like to do? Is there something you feel like you maybe do a little bit more for the team?
I obviously love to score, but I really like to rebound. It just offensive rebounds I really try to get a lot on, just crash the boards, try to kick it out or maybe go back up with it. So, yeah.
Cool.
Let me ask a general question for all you guys. I was looking at last year's All-State team. Region 9 had nobody on the first team. Second team, I had one guy from Dixie. And Jared, you were third team on the All-State team. Meanwhile, you got Skyview and Park City and all these teams with 3 and 4 guys on there. Does that offend you a little bit? Does that tick you off that Region 9 is not getting a lot of respect? What do you think, guys?
I mean, we're not recognized as much, but it's whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't really bother me, at least. I don't know about
Yeah.
that, but
I guess you got to earn it, right?
yeah,
Yep.
just got to show everyone else.
Jared, I'm curious. Last year, you had some amazing games, obviously making 6, 7 threes in one game. Did you notice from kind of the beginning of the season to the end different kind of defensive strategies that teams were employing, especially in region, to try to slow you down and run you off the three-point line?
Yeah, everybody would. Either if it was like a 2-3, they would come to my side more, or is it a man? They would have a guy on me the whole time, or like a boxing one. I don't know. They would run anything, stop me. So.
Do you guys feel like you're undersized? I mean, there's some big guys, not that many around the region, but there's a couple of big guys around the region and around the state. And someone like Taven and Jared, you guys got to mix it up with some pretty big dudes.
Yeah, Taven, we usually put Taven on the bigger dude, and he handles them well, and we have a good plan to double the post or just have good help side to help him out.
Who's going to guard Mason Falslev?
Mikey.
Mikey.
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, Michael, who gives Suds the best? If you guys did a team 3-point contest in practice, who could beat him on a given day?
Me. Definitely. Yep.
Is that true, Suds?
We'll see.
A game of horse between you guys.
Coach, bring back in Coach Eves here, Pineview Panthers with us. Talk about the bench a little bit. I mean, who are some other names, some guys stepping up there you're going to need some minutes from this year?
You know, you got Brendan Shaw, played football. He's a lot like Brooksby. The guy's, I mean, all over the place, taking charges in the help. You know, he's a presence. You got guys like Dason Moore that's young. He's a sophomore, 6'5", just big, strong kid, good footwork. You know, you got Justin Hall, Luca Mamone coming back, some juniors. Taven's little brother Benson is pretty talented. He's a sophomore also. So the nice thing is we have 4 or 5 guys, and we have some size and some length with that group too. So, you know, we don't have a 6'8" kid, but like these 5 right here, between the 3 of those, they're long. Mikey's long, Taven's long. We got a lot of length. We just got to be a little more physical.
Bring back in the guys. Pineview Panthers are with us here. Let's go to Ryan. Ryan, you guys lose to Bonneville by, I think, 14 in the playoffs last year. How much has that motivated you? And do you feel like you're the favorite in Region 9 going into this season?
I feel like just because we have everyone coming back, starting 5, I feel like we could be one of the favorites. And, yeah, after that Bonneville loss kind of hit us. So we put in a lot of work, and we can tell we've each improved, like, every weakness of our game. That's just what we worked on all summer, so.
Is there any such thing, and you guys can answer this, as a favorite competitor in Region 9? Is there a team you really look forward to playing, and of course beating, I assume, or does it really matter at this point?
It's always fun to play like the rivals like Dixie and Desert Hills, and it'll be fun playing Crimson just because they're the new school, and we know some kids who left Pineview to go there to play with them, so I think those 3.
Yeah. Dixie and Desert Hills, those are probably the rivals, but I'm super excited to play Crimson.
Yeah.
Some of our friends went over. They've been talking trash, so let's see how it goes.
All right.
Talking trash. There's none of that going on in basketball nowadays, is there?
No, there is.
Awesome. Well, what do you guys think about your preseason schedule? I noticed you've got Skyview in the second this Thursday, actually. First of all, Richfield, and Coach, I know we're not supposed to overlook anybody, but it's hard not to look at Skyview with them a few days away. What do you think, fellas? Skyview?
I mean, Mason's a good player, but I think we can beat him. We just got to play as a team.
Yeah, I mean, every team we play this year is good, obviously, because that's just how we set up our schedule. We wanted to play the better team, so we can't really look forward to a team when we have to play another team, before
Where's
them.
that tournament at, Ryan? The north
Up
side?
in Logan, up at Skyview. Yeah.
It's at Skyview. Oh.
Yep.
Was that on the schedule did you schedule after they'd won state, or was that already done before?
No, it was already done. I had to tell him, let's not play first game. We'll play you guys second game, but we got Richfield, so we'll play them on the first game up there, and then we'll play Ridgeline the next night. So, it'll be fun.
Real quick, we got about 45 seconds here left with the Pineview Panthers kickstarting our Region 9 Basketball Media Day. Talk to me a little bit about the Coach Walk Classic. It comes right there before Christmas. I know that's one of my favorites. I know you guys host that. That's a fun one.
Yeah, we've got some good teams this year. I mean, we always do, but we've got Westlake coming, Lone Peak, Logan, Springville, Payson, and the Region 9 teams, and Manti. So it's gonna be awesome. We're gonna try to do a little more with some families for Christmases this year. So we'll have a little more info on that coming up.
Good stuff. The Pineview Panthers kickstarting our Media Day coverage. Guys, thanks for being here. Best of luck this season, Coach. Always good to see you. Again, they play Richfield and Skyview to kickstart their campaign, and then Region starts on Tuesday, December 10th with the Hills for the Panthers. We'll take a 3-minute timeout when we come back. Next up, the Dixie Flyers.
For over a century, Dixie State University has been shaping the trailblazers of tomorrow by providing a culture of active learning, active life. With a paradigm of real-world experience mixed with cutting-edge technologies and rich traditions, we provide one of the most affordable educations in the West, set against the most stunning backdrop on the planet.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
You know, we may have started out small, but we were great. Families and fans rallied behind their team. The community cared, and everyone showed up to cheer. Now, we're bigger than ever. Dixie State is going to Division I.
Here we go in transition, and he throws it down with one hand. Lobs. Catch me. Touchdown, Trailblazers.
But at the end of the day, it's the community and fans that make us great. Whether you give $5 or $1,000, every dollar, every seat in the stands, every one of you can help blaze our trail to Division I athletics, because this is our team.
All right, man, I need you to go deep.
All right, I'll catch this one, I promise. Post route, back of the end zone.
Got it, let's do it.
We may not always play good, but when we want to look good, we come to the Dixie State Campus Store.
Located on the second floor of the Gardner Center. We'll see you there.
I take the road less traveled, run free, unwind, unravel, someplace outside with lots to do. Green trees, red rocks, and don't forget that blue sky. The sunshine shining, sunshine pouring on me. Think I might just stay a while. Say hooray all day because the sun is gonna shine on me. Sun is gonna shine on me. Sun's gonna shine on me.
And we welcome you back to our Region 9 High School Basketball Media Day coverage here on 97.7 ESPN as well as CEC TV. And the Dixie Flyers are joining us now on set. And our coverage today presented by Bloomington Country Club. We got a Monday Night Football party again tonight for Seahawks Vikings. So hope to see you over there. And by the new sports performance that's going in at the Nets on Fire, as well as our friends at Coral Desert Orthopedics and Bucks Ace Hardware. Devin Dixon, Andy Griffin, Mike McGarry, and Andy Thompson. And Coach Tyler Roberts has got 5 different players representing the Flyers. We're going to get a chance to talk to all of them. And we've got Noah Lemke, Jordan Matthews, Andy Rich, Isaac Finlinson, and Ethan Bennett. But, Coach, as we always like to do, start with you and talk about, the offseason coming into this season after last year, what you guys did this summer. Give us an overall preview on the Flyers.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We had a great, right after the season ended, obviously right after that little moratorium time, we kind of got with the guys and basically tried to make a game plan for obviously this upcoming season. One thing that kind of stood out that these guys really wanted to do was to play a lot of games. The year before, just being a new head coach that first year, we needed some work on some skill development a little bit more than playing games, so we kind of focused our time on that. But this season, our goal was to try to play as many games as we possibly could and try to get just different type of basketball. We went to a lot of tournaments up north, went to quite a few in Vegas as well, and just tried to play as much games as we could as possible and try to get them to gel together as well.
Well, give me a number. How many games is that? Is that a tournament every other weekend, almost every weekend?
The guys are keeping track. What were we at? 60. About 60.
60 games?
Probably right around 60. So that's a lot of games. Normally we probably play, in the 30s maybe. So we've probably done about double what we would normally do game-wise.
You combo that with some of these guys got a lot of valuable varsity experience last year, and then all those games. You feel like you got way more experienced squad this year?
Yeah, obviously there's nothing like getting experience from region games, being a tough region that we have. But last year we did have a lot of underclassmen that had to step up, which all these guys did. And, in order to continue to build off of that, we needed some more game experience. And by, basically getting out and competing like we did this off season, we basically just went to work.
Coach, first year to second year as a head man, what has changed in Coach Roberts? What have you gotten better at, and what did you realize maybe you were doing wrong and needed to shift a little bit?
Yeah, good question. I've always been, obviously being the assistant coach for 10 years, there's a lot that I learned, obviously with Ryan being there, things that I would do and maybe a few things that I would like to try differently, So being able to try those new things has been fun. I think one of the biggest things that I have always been just as a coach is just adapting to the players that I have, doing what's going to benefit them the most. Obviously, I'm not a coach that said, this is my system, you're going to run it, whoever the guys are. I need to adapt to basically how they need to play. And that's this year they need to play a little more freely. We got to get up and down a lot more. They're really good in transition, so we kind of got to focus our attention in that. And as a coach, I don't want to get in their way also. So I think there's a fine line, obviously. But I think at the same time that we can build off of both of those.
Coach, I know preseason polls are always just that, a preseason poll. But I know one coach always says, well, I'd rather be in it than out of it. So you're in it. You're ranked, they say, 3rd. Do you think of that? Maybe does the team think of that as you look? Does it say something about you as a program? Or your thoughts?
I guess I'm not afraid of that. I love competition. I'm very competitive myself, as these guys know. I would rather talk about it. I would rather face it and go after it. And if you call it a target on your back or whatever that may be, I don't think it's cocky. I think it's just confident. When you spend as much time as these guys do with their own personal skill development, playing the amount of games that we did, I think there comes some respect once we play as many games as we have and we've seen as many teams as we have. Up north as well, they see us about every other weekend, so you get to know some other coaches also, which is kind of fun, just kind of that exposure. So, back to your question, I would say that I don't think we're afraid of whatever ranking it is, I'd rather be ranked, honestly. That gives these guys something to work harder for. Hey, humbled, right? I think that's what I told these guys. We're humbled to be number 3, but also we're still hungry. 3's not where it's preseason, right? It's the end of the year that kind of matters, so.
Coach, I'm curious. You guys have kind of had an awesome tradition of winning defensively and winning games in the 50s and being able to shut people down. How you evaluated, especially in the summer with kind of younger team, the defensive effort so far in the summer?
That's been our main focus, as these guys know. That's every single practice that we harp, and that's what we talk about. Our identity has to be defense. We have some guys that can score, inside and outside. So I feel like we can score with about anybody right now, but I think it will come down to defense. And that was our pride last year. We had a little slower team. We had to play a lot of zone last year. We weren't a great man-to-man team, to be honest with you. And so we really had to dial in on the defensive end, kind of some junk defenses, just whatever fit our guys, So that will still be our main focus, obviously, is defense. I mean, you can't exchange baskets, right? So that's our main focus.
Coach Tyler Roberts here with us. One more question before we bring in the Dixie Flyers, the players representing the team. But, Coach, talk to me about the RPI. We saw it now through football, but we've never seen it in basketball. Give us your thoughts based on your schedule and what you've kind of instructed your guys and how to handle that.
Yeah, again, that's a great question because we don't know. That's the unknown. I kind of changed my schedule a little bit. We've always had a tough schedule, but I think we're even a little tougher. We'll see how that plays out. That might help us a lot, right? But it also could hurt us. I don't know that yet. So our mentality right now is just, obviously one game at a time, but trying to build a preseason schedule that these guys can learn from some tough games. And we're playing, again, some 5A, 6A schools like we always do. And I think that helps us prepare for Region 9 because Region 9 is, I don't care what classification you are in, Region 9 is the toughest region in the state.
And a couple of the opponents you don't know this weekend. It's kind of a true tournament.
True. Yeah. We could see Corner Canyon or Lehigh that second game, and then it would either be like Westlake, Alta, Maple Mountains on the other side. So
big schools. Do you feel like there's an added emphasis then that you have to win or at least compete in those? I guess win, because compete doesn't matter in the RPI. It doesn't matter if you were close. Yeah. It matters if you won or lost.
Yeah, and that's a good question too. I think I would say the only downfall that I see as a coach, one, traditionally Dixie football is really good, so we get our players a little later, than some of the other schools. So one thing that plays into effect now, I would say, is our football guys are a hair behind, right? But two is a lot of coaches, me specifically, I like to play some guys early too to try them out, right? Some juniors that may step up preseason where now every single game matters. It's a little different, right? So you have to go in and you have to be ready from day one. And so I think that's a little bit different. Obviously being a coach, the coaching side is just you don't have as much flexibility if you do drop a game.
Good stuff from Coach Roberts. We'll circle back to him for some final comments in just a second. But let's introduce again the Flyers. Join us here: Andy Rich, Jordan Matthews, Isaac Finlinson, Noah Lemke, and Ethan Bennett. And Andy, let's start with you. Talk about senior season and being one of the leaders on this team. And give me kind of a gauge of your excitement level for the upcoming schedule.
I don't know if I could even give you a gauge because I'm kind of off it. I'm really excited for this year. We got a really fun group of guys, and we've been playing together for a long time now. So it's just kind of exciting just to see where we can go, I guess.
Now, you're a two-sport star. You play soccer, too. You're dang good at soccer. But you didn't get a lot of varsity time last year. What have you been working on to get on the floor a little bit more and help the team a little bit more this year?
I've been working on some stuff in my personal game also, but I kind of just looked and it's what we need as a team because it's a team sport. So maybe some holes or gaps that I can fill, whether it's on the defensive or offensive end, and just the energy that I can give, just kind of control what I can give and inspire my teammates to do the same.
Nice inspiration. Jordan, your family's known as being hard-nosed, tough guys. Are you a hard-nosed, tough guy? Is that your strength?
I guess, yeah, sure.
I always thought he was a slasher and a scorer.
Yeah.
He's a combo. He can do it all.
What have you worked on this offseason specifically? Outside game, inside, a little bit of both?
A little bit of both, mainly shooting. Been working on threes and, yeah, just trying to be able to get my teammates involved. And
got to keep up with Finlinson a little bit in the three-point shooting department?
Yeah.
I know you guys grew up with the three-point being such a big part of the game, three-point shot. Us older guys, it was kind of like I was using the analogy earlier, it was like the stuffing and the potatoes versus the turkey. But now the three-point shot is, Isaac, if you'll talk about how important the three-point shot is now to the modern game of basketball for you.
Well, nowadays we just shoot a lot more threes, and it's more points. 2 points is more points than 3, so might as well be able to hit it.
Do you have a green light from the coach anytime
Yeah.
you can shoot a
He-
three?
he
Does
gives me
everybody have a green
confidence.
light?
He gives me confidence to shoot, have the green light.
Yeah, I'll have the green light.
Noah's got the green light.
Noah's got the green light. He's even got the green light from the three.
I was going to ask Noah if you feel like the rare bird here, one of the few really big guys in the area. What do you think about that at all as you go to play the Region 9 games?
Not really. Like, I know it's like an advantage I have and I use it, but like there's a lot of competition in the post and it's harder to score on a smaller guy than a bigger guy, I feel like sometimes. But I don't know. I feel like I've expanded my game out more than last year.
But Noah, does Coach have some sets where he wants to pound the ball into the rock to you specifically, maybe take advantage of some mismatches?
Yeah, definitely. We run a lot of post.
Ethan, you and Isaac were like the super sophomores last year, coming in big games and making big plays and shots like that. But as a junior now, upperclassman, what was the summer like for you, and how has your role kind of evolved now that you're a junior so far?
Well, last year, I don't know, I felt like if I made a mistake, it wasn't as big of a deal. But this year, I felt like a little more pressure on me. But this year, I focused on just making my teammates better and not thinking about myself as much. And I feel like that's made our team a lot better this year.
Ethan, just curious, after you had some turkey with your family, did you and Tyler go get a little game of one-on-one going? I know he's kind of retired now, but did you get him in horse at least?
No, not this year. He was out of town, but I'll get him. I'll get him soon.
It's his dad you got to look out for.
Good point. Good point.
You guys said you played 60 games, off-season games. What's the record there? Anybody keep track of that?
You keep track of that.
Oh, come on, Dale. Somebody knows.
Graduation at the start of school, you got about 90 some odd days, right? So they played.
Well, that was end of season, though.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Don't ask me to do
couple
that
more
math.
months there.
50 and 10, 55 and 5, 40 and 20.
Tournaments. We did good too. We did good. We lost the championship to Hawaii down there.
Statistical question, okay?
Yeah.
We'll hear it.
We'll bring you along with us next year to keep track of those stats for us.
I'll keep stats for you.
Andy, would you put Isaac up against anybody in 4A in the state in a three-point shooting contest?
Oh, I'd put up Isaac and then a lot of other of our teammates. I think come the big moments, they're going to see a lot of people on our team be able to knock down shots, but Isaac especially, I guess he's an all right shooter.
Isaac, how many sets do you have to where coach wants you to get an open look at a three?
Basically, like mostly every set we have, there's an option to get me an open three, but we have a lot of other options like going inside, inside out, and we have like a bunch of different options.
How's the dribble drive? Because you're going to get a lot of runouts this year. So obviously, and I saw you make some nice little transition lay-ins and finger rolls and things. I mean, is that something you worked on, or do you try to get up more reps at the three-point line than do other stuff?
Yeah, this year I've tried to focus on like driving more, going to the basket, and like having more of an all-around game.
Jordan, let me ask you, as you move now to the senior year, what goes through your mind? Is that something exciting, different, maybe a little bit afraid, apprehensive? What's your feelings as you look at this year?
It's really exciting, but at the same time, it's kind of scary knowing that it's your last year. Got to go out with a bang and just show people what's up.
Did you talk about that? I mean, I assume you do, saying, hey, this will maybe be our last shot here. We got to give it. What do you talk about?
We just kind of try and live in the moment. Don't really get too involved with it, but still knowing that like could be your last year.
I think you just kind of keep it in the back of your mind because it is a extra motivator for the seniors to kind of get their stuff in gear and go hard every day in practice because it kind of does make it just that much more important for us.
Noah, what do you feel like your mentality is defensively? I mean, we talk about the Flyers and how good they are on defense. They can press. They're really good on the perimeter. But this year, as one of the big guys in the region, like in your head when you're playing, what role do you think you have on defense this season?
To guard the paint. Not if anyone lets their guy go past, I'm there to stop them.
Ethan, talk about the hangar, home court advantage. You know, Region 9, we get packed houses. I mean, small gyms. It's loud. How big of an advantage is it, and how do you take that emotion at the home games out to when you play at the Jungle or at D Hills or some other court?
Yeah, I definitely think we have like one of the best home crowds in the region. just because our students are awesome and they love us. But I think away games are honestly more fun, personally. Just like you have like trying to prove to the other fans that you're like on a business trip and you're trying to get the dub at their place.
Is that how you treat the road games, Coach? Business.
Business. I think home games are the same way. We're suit and tie every region game, so it's always business.
This is a good group. Final
Great
thoughts
group.
from you, Coach?
Yeah, awesome guys. I think the biggest thing with these guys too is Andy kind of hit it right on. They love each other. You know, our little motto this year is kind of our fly fam, and I think they've truly bought into that. You know, I think there's games that can be won and lost. Yeah, they say from the free throw line and that kind of stuff. But if guys buy into each other and they love each other, I think you can get wins from that as well. So that's probably what I've been most impressed with this group is just how much they love each other and trust each other on the floor.
Flyers will be in action this Thursday up at the Corner Canyon Tournament. They'll have games Friday and Saturday as well. Coach, guys, best of luck this season. Quick 3-minute break. We're back with more of our Region 9 Basketball Media Day. Snow Canyon joins us after the timeout.
There is a place where the sun doesn't hide in the winter, where the greens stay green and the crimson canyons still glow. There is a place where dimples determine destiny, and a tiny wooden tee holds the outcome in the balance. There is a place where we drive for show, putt for dough, and settle the score with another round. There is a place.
1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your favorite brother, your other brother, you, your football buddy, your football buddy, you, the boss's boss. If 1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes, that means it could be you, your barber, your barber's barber.
Nice work. Thanks.
You, your plumber,
Breathe right into your foot.
your plumber's masseuse.
Yes.
You, your dog walker,
On your left.
your cat jogger. Or you, your co-pilot, your co-pilot's co-pilot. While 1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes, with early diagnosis, pre-diabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org to know where you stand.
Radio Dixie 91.3. We don't play that. Nope, not that. A big fat no there. That's what we play. And stuff like that. On St. George's only alternative, Radio Dixie 91.3. Oh, and from 9 till midnight, we play this. I need a one dance. And this. Radio Dixie 91.3 FM.
Hey guys, how are you today? Good. I'm here to talk about how with technology you can make amazing worlds. Come with me. My team and I bring the Halo world to life. Is that you? That is me. I wasn't a math genius and I knew nothing about coding. But you guys do. You guys have the power to change things. I want your job. I want you to have my job.
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, good. You played before, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's all state, high school.
Good, let's run some routes. Give me a post route.
All right, let's do it.
We may not always play good, but when we want to look good, we come to the Dixie State Campus Store.
Located on the 2nd floor of the Gardner Center. We'll see you there.
And we welcome you back to our 2019-2020 High School Basketball Media Day. Devin Dixon, Andy Griffin, Mike McGarry, Andy Thompson, the ESPN Sports team here. And next up, we've got the Snow Canyon Warriors. Media Day brought to you by the new Sports Performance. They got a new second location at the Nets on Fire. This Wednesday, public is open to come for an open house and light refreshments. They've got a special offer on training packages, so go check it out. A lot of our high school varsity players have all been through the Sports Performance training. And also, we appreciate Bloomington Country Club. Normally, we'd be live from Bloomington Country Club today for the show, but they're bringing you our Media Day coverage, and we hope to see you over there a little later tonight for our Monday Night Football party as the Vikings and Seahawks clash. All right, let's get to work. Snow Canyon Warriors in the building. Second-year head coach Doug Meacham. Meach, how are you, man? Thanks for being here. Representing the Warriors, we'll get to the players in a second. Cole Warner, McKay Meacham, Bryson Kelch, and Boom Dalton. But, Coach, we always like to start out with you and kind of bring us up to speed, the offseason, and give us an overall thoughts on this year's unit and a preview of the Warriors.
Thank you. I'm excited. The magic of a season is always fun. Just the element of trying to get guys and players to buy in and to learn to play for each other is always the fun part of it. To get players and even coaches aligned, I think, is the fun challenge. And I'm excited. I thought we made some progress in the off season. We had a couple guys that played football, and it's fun to get them back in the gym. They always stayed attached during the season, which always helps. And I think it's a good break for them, and it's also brings an element of toughness to our group that I think will help us defensively. And I like the guys in our locker room. I think we've got guys that are willing to buy in. They're willing to put time in and show up when no one else is at the gym, and those things matter.
Last year, you guys didn't make the postseason, Coach. This year, you're going to make the postseason, but you want to get into the postseason with a higher seed. Yeah. I'm going to ask all the coaches a little bit about, because I think it differs coach to coach on your thoughts of the RPI.
Last year, we would have loved the RPI. I felt like we were playing our best basketball towards the end of the year. We started out with some injuries that added to, trying to mix guys in at certain spots, which made it a little bit tougher. But, last year, 5 of the games were within, a few points in the last minute or so, and that could have changed very differently with just finishing some games. And that's kind of our focus this year, is to get better in situations, and we've tried to focus on that. The RPI, I think, is exciting because gives you a goal towards the end of the year. Just keep working. And I think if teams will do that, they'll be rewarded down the stretch and win those games at the end of the season.
Before we get into the players and more questions from the guys, just give us a little bit more of an overlook of your roster. I mean, some of the guys that aren't here with you today, how deep is this team? Who are some new guys that can get some varsity minutes for you?
Yeah, I mean, this is our 4 seniors, and then we've got some young guys that'll play. I've got a sophomore, Walker Morrison, who's a good shooter, and a guy that's just getting better every day defensively. And Lincoln Platus he's a guy that can handle the ball and make shots, and he was good for us in the summer, and he's improving defensively. And then we've got Lineman Simmons, who's a freshman, 6'7", big kid who knows how to score around the paint, and he's sometimes getting bumped around a little bit as a freshman, but he's got a high ceiling for progress. He's a big guy that loves to work, and that's a good combination.
Coming down from up north, this is your second year now. How are things different for you this second year with Snow Canyon and the way you've coached in the past?
It's just different colors. It really is. It's fun to come into the gym. I've got guys that are excited to be there, and really it's been refreshing in the sense that this community down here is awesome. I mean, even though we struggled last year, we had people coming out to games all the way through the year, and they're showing up in their Star Wars gear, their pajama night, and all those things. And to me, that's the fun of high school basketball, is that atmosphere.
Coach is going to join in the fair this year. I want to see you in a Star Wars outfit.
Hey, I might go pajamas. I don't know about Star Wars.
Actually, Coach, my question is more on the line. In your scheduling this year, with the addition of the new school, kind of throw some of the, I think, some pretty heavyweight games right up front. Just your thoughts on that.
Yeah, we're going to be tested early, and we knew out of the gate Park City was a good team, returning all their guys from last year, and that was a good test for us to kind of tell us where we're at. Parowan, only lost a few games last year. They're always a solid team. And, starting off at Crimson, I didn't have a lot of input on how the schedule went, to open up with that one. But, you got to play them. So we're excited to get rolling. I think it puts an emphasis on being more focused, especially early in these practices.
Coach, I'm curious about what the summer was like as far as games that you play competitively, and then also adjusting. You're one of maybe a couple teams in Region 9 who lost one of their big scorers in Joey Robertson last year, a guy you could depend on in the post a little bit. So kind of adjusting from losing a guy like that as well as your summer.
Yeah, I feel like we have kind of a group of guys that can score different nights, and those teams are always fun, as coaches will say. If one night Cole's hot, then someone else can go off. And I feel like that can be this group of guys. Joey is a hard player to replace in that post to get those hard baskets. But I feel like we've got a good nucleus of guys and can surround the three-point line with shooters, and I think that helps. This summer was good for us. We played, the camps around here. We went up north and played up at the Southtown Expo, and that was good for us to just go play some good teams up there. And really, to me, the spring and the fall, guys just putting in time with skill sessions and working and getting up shots, to me, I think that's what pays big dividends down the road. And our young guys, too, are really coming along from freshman, sophomore JV group.
Did the RPI in football affect RPI or your season in basketball? Because you had some guys playing in the playoffs in football as well.
Yeah, I mean, we may not have had them. We were up at Park City watching that game, and I was talking to their coach, and he had a few football guys, and so it was mixed feelings on how that was going to end. But I just love the fact that they got to go compete. They got to be with a good group of guys and coaching staff, and someone else got to yell at them for a while.
Well put. Snow Canyon Warriors here. Let's bring in the players, and then we'll circle back to Coach Meacham for some more comments in just a minute. But representing the Warriors today, Cole Warner, McKay Meacham, Bryson Kelch, and Boom Dalton. And Cole, let's start with you. I mean, you're playing multiple sports. Your schedule's got to be incredibly busy, especially in the summer. I'm just wondering how hard that is to balance it all and how you find the time to make time for football and basketball and soccer.
I don't know. It's always been like that since I was little. I've always enjoyed playing all of them, so I didn't see a reason not to. But it definitely is kind of stressful on my family, but that's how my entire family is. We're always going. We're not home a lot, so it's pretty just expected at my house that you're always doing something. So it's, to other people, it seems like kind of a big deal, but at our house it's always in and out. So it's not that big of a deal, honestly.
Pretty big deal that you came right out of football and scored 28. You guys are the only Region 9 team that's played a game so far here before our media day. I mean, it seems like it was a smooth transition.
I think that, like what Coach said, how we played football, but we stayed connected to basketball, and I'd still try to shoot hoops every day and stay in the gym, So then when football was over, that when basketball started, it was a pretty smooth transition. It wasn't like I was super rusty or anything.
We'll go back to you guys in a second, but I've been dying to ask Boom about his first name or nickname or whatever it is ever since last season. Tell us about Boom. Why, how, when?
Why, how, when? Mm-hmm. It's not actually my real name. My real name is Ryder.
Ryder.
But when I was a baby, I was huge. And so my parents started calling me Boom Boom, and it just turned into Boom as I got older.
I like it, man. That's awesome. That's a great story.
Now he takes charges, and so he takes the boom. And
Does anybody call you Ryder at all?
Teachers. That's about it.
Not even your mom, she's mad at you?
It's always Boom.
I love it.
Boom, let me ask a question then in regards, do you feel that maybe as a senior stepping up, you're the guy, the go-to guy, the down low guy? You're not huge, but none of your team is huge.
He was his baby, though.
Yeah, he's still pretty big. I mean, I'm looking up to the guy all the time. But
Okay, I'm excited. I'm not the biggest guy in the region for sure, but I feel like I can definitely hold my ground. And we've got Wyman on our team, and I feel like me and him working together, I think that could be really fun. And I'm excited. It'll be fun.
He's the freshman you were talking about?
Yeah.
So you're a senior, he's a freshman, but you guys he's bigger than you, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
He's got 2 inches on me.
Wow.
McKay, I was going to ask you, coming in last year, new school, all that stuff, and you were kind of a presumed leader on the team, and were one of the floor generals last year. Maybe talk to us a little bit about your leadership role last year and transitioning now your senior year with this team, and what I guess your leadership role is going to be this season.
Yeah, just coming back, being a senior, I just feel like I just need to do the same things that I did last year, just leading, getting the buckets that are open, and the transition was easy coming from up north. It's different. There were a lot of D1 players up north coming down to just a ton of scrappy basketball players, which is it's a fun change, so I'm excited.
Got to ask you about your relationship with your coach/dad.
Yeah, he's my father.
Does he have 2 hats? Does he take it off when you get home, or how does that work?
Sometimes.
We've had some quiet rides home sometimes, too.
Oh, man.
Let's bring in Bryson. Bryson, this summer, what specifically did you work on? talk about your role on this year's team and how you can contribute. What do you want to be known for as far as, a hard-nosed guy, a rebounder, jack of all trades?
I'll go with jack of all trades. My kind of role on this team sometimes feels like it differs from day to day. I came in being when these guys were gone at football, me and Boom kind of were the guys to take charge during the practices, and so them coming back, we have a good amount of leadership, and I'm really excited.
I want to ask McKay about more consistent scoring nights. Last year it was like you guys would rattle off and get hot and you'd score, and then the defense would complement that. But then there was other nights where the defense was really good and there was just a lack of scoring. How have you guys addressed that coming into this season so you can be a more complete team and more consistent?
Yeah, this year we've focused a lot more on defense. Last year we were doing good offense, and then towards the end of the year we did good on defense. But this year and through the summer we focused mainly on defense because I don't think we have a problem scoring. We have great shooters, great rebounders, and we can get the easy buckets. And so I just feel like the balance is a lot better this year.
How important is the three-point shot for Snow Canyon? Start with you, Coach.
I think it's vitally important. I mean, teams are going to zone you until you make some shots. And I think that's kind of the nature of the game, is even if you're a 5 or 4 man, you got to be able to knock it down. And I think that's the way the game's going. But it also allows guys to work on it, and we kind of, in our skill sessions, our centers do the same thing as our guards so that they can improve and be able to be a guy that can pick and pop and then be able to drive and get to the basket from that pop position too.
You're not old, but you're an old school coach.
Yeah.
Do you like the trend that the three-point shot has become such an important part of basketball nowadays?
Well, I think the skill level is just amazing. I think it's putting players in the gym more. And I think you always need those hard baskets too. Playoff basketball, you got to get those tough twos and the hard threes, which are 2 and 1s. But I think you're seeing more players realize, hey, if I'm not a consistent 30 to 40% three-point shooter, it's hard for me to make some teams even to the younger levels sometimes.
I'm going to go back to Boom. Boom, I'm just curious. Take me through Coach Mitch's practice. What's the intensity like? What do you guys start with? What do you end with? I mean, don't give me secrets of the trade away, but I just want to know, kind of give us an inside peek at what your normal routine is like.
We all show up a few minutes early. We separate into our guards and bigs, and we all do our individual drills, and then we come together and get right into some offensive stuff, and then go right into defense. And all around, it's pretty intense, especially when we get into that defensive stuff.
I want to ask Cole. First box score says 28 points by your name, and that, like, a little red flag goes up on all your future opponents. Like, they got to score. They got a guy that can light it up. You realize now when you score like that pressure's going to be on you to keep scoring.
I mean, I'm just here to do whatever my team needs me to do. If that's score, I'll score. If they need me to pass, I'll pass. I'm just here to do it wherever I'm asked. I don't know.
Do you expect some extra attention from defenses?
Maybe. I don't know. If they do, I probably won't even notice it, but maybe. I have no idea.
Let me ask Bryson, but anybody can actually answer the question. And I don't know, it's kind of maybe a tough question, but is there a Region 9 team that really you want to play? Do you have a favorite to play? Do you have one that's either fun to play or you don't like playing them or you really want to beat them? Who would that be, Bryson?
We have a really good region, so that's a rough question. I'd say we're excited to play every single one. I think we have a really competitive, really talented region, and we're excited to go up against all of them.
Well, let me ask you this, are you excited to add one more to the list then?
Absolutely.
What do you know about Crimson?
We've played against some of their guys in the past.
Yeah.
It's about all we know
New
about
team,
them.
not new guys, really.
Yeah,
isn't it?
we're excited to see what they're about.
Yeah. Any takers on who's your favorite team to play? You don't have to. I don't want to.
The next game, Parowan.
Yeah.
The next game.
Parowan's our favorite.
Shout out to Parowan.
Right there.
Shout out to
Cole, you were probably the best guy in the region last year in transition, just getting the ball and going 90 feet and scoring and stuff like that. We know you can shoot the three. We know you just scored 28 points. I guess what aspect of your offensive game are you looking to improve this year with this group?
I'm just trying to be a little more in control, and then sometimes last year and even last game, I'll sometimes get head of steam, and I kind of get tunnel vision. I'm trying to be able to slow down a little bit and jump stop with like 2 feet and find teammates, get some open threes. Those are like the best threes you can get, or kick out threes. But yeah.
Good stuff. Coach, some final thoughts? Good group of guys.
I'm excited. The fun thing about these guys is they're taking ownership. When a team does that, good things can happen. I mean, they had a goal. We did something this year where we haven't always done in years past. We want them to earn their locker room. And I said, guys, I want you to come up with a way that you get into your locker room. I mean, this is a special privilege to be a Snow Canyon basketball player. What are you going to do to go show you want to earn this privilege beyond just making a team? And they came up, Coach, we want to get 10 charges in practice before we were given the locker room. And I was wondering if they were going to get one before the first game, and it happened to be the day before the first game. Our big fella, he took a couple charges, and it was fun. It was fun to see them rally around each other, know that kind of toughness element is something that matters to them, and they know that the little things matter, and it's fun to be around a bunch of guys that are like that and that like each other.
Snow Canyon Warriors. Well, we'll end on that. Great words from Coach Meacham. Appreciate you, Cole, McKay, Bryson, and Boom. Have a great season and good luck. We got to take a break, but before we do, Parowan on Wednesday, and then next Tuesday, the Snow Canyon Warriors will play the very first region game ever at Crimson Cliffs, and then they've got some preseason games against Cottonwood and then Canyon View. The region games come a little earlier this year. Best of luck. Snow Canyon Warriors, everybody. We got to take a time out. When we come back, Region 9 Media Day coverage continues with the Canyon View Falcons.
Where do you find the titans of classical music in St. George? Classical music on Radio St. George, 100.3 FM. Where do you find the legends of jazz? Evenings on Radio St. George, 100.3 FM.
Action!
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
No, I'm not busy right now. Yeah, I can talk.
We may not always play good, but when we want to look good, we come to the Dixie State Campus Store.
Located on the second floor of the Gardner Center. We'll see you there.
You know, we may have started out small, but we were great. Families and fans rallied behind their team. The community cared, and everyone showed up to cheer. Now, we're bigger than ever. Dixie State is going to Division I.
Here we go in transition, and he throws it down with one hand.
But at the end of the day, it's the community and fans that make us great. Whether you give $5 or 1,000, every dollar, every seat in the stands, every one of you can help blaze our trail to Division I athletics, because this is our team.
Welcome back. CEC TV studios on the campus, Dixie State University. This is our high school basketball Region 9 Media Day. We've been doing this for years and years and years, and it's always a lot of fun. And we're not quite halfway through yet, as we've got the Canyon View Falcons joining us next. And the coverage today is brought to you by our friends at Bloomington Country Club, as well as Coral Desert Orthopedics, Bucks Ace Hardware, and our friends at the New Sports Performance up at the Nets on Fire. Open house on Wednesday night, 5:30 to 7:30. Open to the public. Go check that new facility out. Our panel today, Andy Griffin, Mike McGarry, Andy Thompson. I'm Devin Dixon, and let's get right to it. Coach Potter and Canyon View joining us on set. Coach Potter's selected 4 players to represent the Falcons here today. Trevor Farrell, Cody Spencer, Jackson Jorgensen, and Mr. Hayden Spencer. And Coach, we'll get to the guys in just a second, but as I always want to start with you and kind of talk about the offseason and some of the tournaments you played in and how the guys are gelling, and give us kind of an overall look at the roster and a preview for the Falcons this year.
Yeah, thanks. First of all, thanks for having us down. Glad you've been doing it for years and years, and we're back. Always a fun time that when this rolls, you know it's time to get serious. So off-season is pretty much the same for us. We encourage our kids to play off-season sports, but if they don't, we make sure there's stuff going on in the gym between getting stronger and getting more skilled. So, between the spring and fall, we have, a couple of nights a week of open gym and a couple of days a week of strength training, and then we go play in the summer. The thing we did differently this summer is we went to Utah State Eastern. Curtis Conde was an assistant coach up there, and he's a friend of mine, so he talked us into coming over to Price. And that was the first time I think we had all of our guys. So it was kind of the time we had to get a look at everybody. And so we had a good time. It was a 5-day type thing, and ended up having a few teams out here and there, but with some good competition, and had a good time together.
You guys were 10-13, 4th in the region last year. Of course, everybody's making the postseason this year. I'm going to ask every coach their individual thoughts about the RPI, and I want to get yours.
Well, I think there's years where we've been playing really well at the end of the year, and we would have liked to have had one more game. And I think last year, Coach Meacham probably would say this, they were playing really well at the end of the year last year. That's a team that deserves another chance to play some more games. And so I like that. Of course, as a goal, as a program, we always want to get one of those top 4 spots. And we spent a couple years out of the region, but we take some pride in the fact that in the last 4 years, only us and Dixie are the only 2 Region 9 teams that have been in those top 4, whether it was in Region 12 or Region 9 in the last 4 years. So, that was something we kind of hung our hat on. And so you don't want to get too comfortable that everybody's going to be there. But at the same time, if you have some injuries, if you have some downturns, if you're playing your best, and at the end of February, you give yourself a chance. It didn't work out perfectly in all sports. Pineview football wins, goes undefeated, but still is below on the RPI and lower ranked and stuff like that. And my wife and daughter play in volleyball. Pineview beat us 3 times in volleyball. We were still ranked ahead of them in the RPI somehow. So I don't think it's perfect, but in the end, it puts a little more pressure on you. This weekend going into Vegas, we don't know a lot about the teams we're going to play. We don't even know after the game 1 who will play, but we got to be ready to go because those games matter as well. So.
You actually, that was the question I was going to ask you as concerning RPI, is how do they factor in the Nevada schools? I don't even know how that works.
I've heard so many different things from people, but I read the RPI from the UHSA thing top to bottom, and I can't find half the stuff that people mention as applicable to it. So I think there's a lot of gray area right now. But the thing is they have to enter their games on max preps. So there is a caveat there that if you play somebody from out of state and they don't, you have to contact them and get them to enter their games max preps for those to count. And so looking at the field, it's mainly Arizona, California, Nevada, and then Pace and Utah will be there. So I think whoever we end up matching up with will probably be max preps anyhow. Those states already use max preps for everything, so we'll be safe. We have played like a Canada team and Australian team there in the past stuff. Those guys aren't in the field this year, so we don't have to worry about those ones.
It seems a little confusing because it's opponent and their strength of schedule and their opponent's strength of schedule, and then you throw in some other states and who knows.
Yeah, I can tell you Coach Sawyer's played Moapa Valley in football, and he said it didn't end up helping him as much as he hoped it would as far as that was concerned. But we're just going to play the teams in front of us and kind of figure out things as we go, just like everybody else. And of course 14 of those games are already pre-decided for us, so that only leaves us 8 or 9 games to worry about ourselves anyhow. So.
Kind of build a little powerhouse up there. You guys have, like you mentioned, been a regular in the postseason, no matter what region you've been in. You got, almost a 13-point scorer and Trevor coming back. Talk about the rest of the guys and where some of that new scoring production will come from some of the guys you graduated.
Yeah, so obviously when you lose some of the guys we did last year, there was a lot of experience and a lot of scoring and leadership there. But we're excited about these guys. Jay or Jackson got a lot of varsity experience last year, had a couple double-digit scoring games, and then Cody started one game for us and got a lot of action. Just came with some huge plays down the stretch. But the nice thing about these guys, and we left 2 seniors at home, I wish we could have brought them all, but I just didn't think we'd all fit in here. But Jackson Dastrup and Carson Jensen as well, and all 6 of these guys are Canyon View guys. I mean, they've played since they were probably 5th grade or younger in Canyon View basketball. And not that we don't welcome move-ins, but these guys are born and bred Canyon View. In fact, I found a picture last year going through slideshows of, it was in I think 2009, something like that, and we had played Cedar in the blackout game, and everybody was on the floor celebrating afterwards, and these guys were in there. There was this. I'm like, man, that's a little Jackson Jorgensen right there, a little Trevor Farrell, a little Hayden Springer. So it was a lot of fun to see that. And so, these guys can play. They put a lot of time in. They've been very committed to basketball for a long time. And, I'm excited about some of that. The juniors, we have a couple kids that are pretty good scorers who put a lot of time in. Trevor's younger brother, I can't say little brother because he's taller than him, but his younger brother, Cole Farrell, has put a lot of time in. And, we got Tyler Main, Hayden Zobel, and some guys that have played some JV and stuff last year. And then we got a couple other guys that were really impressed how well they've progressed, and have had a couple kids move in that junior class to help bolster that a little bit. So I'm excited about what they've done in the offseason, the time they've put in to the program.
Obviously, getting ready to hit the season coming up, but as you've practiced and gone through their coach, is there anything you can look at and say, I can kind of see this is the team's, this is going to be their strengths, or is anything different maybe in the years gone by?
Well, you notice none of us have to duck to get in the door, and I'm still been the tallest guy on my team most years. So we kind of, know who we are. We play a little bit of the small ball, but we ask guys to play bigger than they are. I think Cody's a great example of that. Last year, he came on and played a little bit of 4 for us. I think we list him as 6 foot on the roster, but he's probably about 5'10". But he's got great hops. But, they just play bigger than they are, and we've been doing it for years. I mean, if you kind of look back the last couple of years, we really kind of start 5 guards, and, we just go play and fill our role. And so the good thing is, I think, guys, this year, some of the seniors, talking to them early in some interviews, they're just willing to buy into their role, and they just want to do what helps. And I know that sounds really cliche, but it is a big deal. If you got 5 guys that all think they're going to lead the team in scoring and all going to, all want to be all the personal accolades, it's not going to be successful. But we'll move the ball. We'll try to execute on half-court offense to where teams have to make a decision. Are you going to guard this guy? Or are you going to guard that guy? And we kind of believe you can't guard it all, and we're going to try to put them in positions to find those mistakes. And as we play more, we'll find that out more. Obviously, we haven't played a game yet, so we just seen them practice in the off season and stuff. But guys can shoot, guys can score. These 3 guards right here to my left, mainly, they can pretty much do everything. And so hopefully, we've played teams that don't have 3 guys that can defend that well, and we'll find out who can't, and we'll try to exploit that. And that's what we've done a fairly good job of in the past. Last year we had Parker Holmes, who really played out of the post really well, and we don't maybe have as strong of offensive threat out of the back of the basket this year. So we'll try to find other ways to utilize our guys and find scoring. So.
Coach, one of the questions we've been asking the teams before you was how important the 3 ball has become in this generation of basketball. For this group, after, like we brought up missing a couple of your big scores from last year, how key do you see the 3-point shot being for you guys this season?
Yeah, we try not to dive down the hole too much on that, but it is important, and these guys can all shoot it, and we work on it a lot in practice. We don't have bigs on one end and guards on the other. We just all do the same thing. And, Hayden technically is a forward, but if we work to get him a good shot in a good spot, I want him to knock it down, whether that's a 3 or 15-foot or whatever. So, it is part of the game. It's kind of funny. I don't really love the 3 in my personal game when I play. Too many, like when I was growing up, too many 6'7" guys standing on the 3-point line with their hand in the air, waving for the ball instead of being an athlete and going and playing. But it is a big part of the game, and we're pretty good at it. And Coach Blattner, Coach Jensen, my assistants, spend a lot of time trying to develop these guys' skills and work on their shots from different places. But all these guys know that they have to have a mid-range game, and they got to be able to get to the basket too if they want to be effective. And so they're pretty diverse in their skill set.
All right, Coach Potter, we'll circle back to Coach in just a minute. Let's bring in the guys. We don't want to sit there and have them wait to get a chance to talk about the upcoming season. Representing Canyon View, we got Trevor Farrell, Cody Spencer, Mr. Jorgensen, and Mr. Springer down there. Let's start with you, Trevor. Trevor, you got the statistics on paper And then a lot of people are just going to look at that and say, okay, here's the guy that really needs to carry this team forward this year. With that becomes, a little bit of pressure, a little bit of responsibility. What are your thoughts on the upcoming season when I say that out loud?
I look forward to this whole season, not only because it's senior year, but because I've got the guys that I've grown up playing with. And I know that if I'm having an off night or something, they're there to pick me up. And I'm there for them too. Like Coach said, during that blackout picture, all of us were down there celebrating with him. Like, we breathe Canvey basketball, and we're just looking forward to it. So.
You've been keeping up on some of the alumni. So guys like Blackner doing a pretty good job at the next level.
Yeah, he's doing pretty good.
I want to go back to your brother for just a second. What's that dynamic like? Pretty competitive?
Oh, yeah.
Really competitive.
Yeah, coaches had to pull us aside. Not really pull us aside, but he's had to tell us to knock it off quite a bit during open gyms and stuff. We're always trying to get into his head, and he's a good kid. He's gonna help us out a lot, but he is 6'3", so it's kind of sucks for me, 5'10".
You didn't hit the genetic jackpot on that one.
No, I didn't.
Well, it happens. It happens.
But you beat him in a three-point shooting contest.
I sure hope so.
Coach kind of dodged the three-point shot question, so we'll ask you, especially. You guys, honestly, Canyon View is known for shooting the three-point shot. You have for as long as I've been following Canyon View, and it's an important part because you do end up a lot of times playing five guards. It's an important part of the game. Is it possible to fall in love too much with a three-point shot, Trevor?
I think that with the team that we have this year, honestly, no, because I think we're all really diverse and we can all do a lot of different things. This summer we didn't live and die by the three-point line, so I hope that carries into our season this year. So.
Cody, let me ask you, during the summer or the off season, is there a particular part of your game that you have worked on to make that a much better tool for you as you hit the season?
Yeah, I knew my role going into this was going to be different. I knew that I had to pick up a bigger role, be able to score from all parts of the floor. And that's what I worked on this summer, is just being able to score from the three-point line, but then go one-on-one with somebody and then maybe even post a few kids up and then score from 15 feet out. So I think that was a big part of me in this summer.
Very good.
Jackson, it's been, the last couple of years I've been calling games. Fun to watch Canyon View because the ball's always whipping around. Like we said, 5 guys who are guards, who can handle it, who are good passers and stuff like that. How fun is it to be in this system where you can shoot? You have guys who are good shooters too, who are going to pass it to you when you're open, and then you can rely on that.
Oh, it's super fun. Like, Coach Pollard just lets us play, so we just go out there and it's just, it's fun.
Hayden, take me through a Coach Potter practice. I'm curious. I like to ask this every once in a while from certain teams. I've never been to one of your practices. Take me through it from a player's perspective.
We usually start off with something like a warm-up, get our heads right, get our hands, feet going. And then we'll move in, we'll do some skill work, split up. We can't really split up bigs and guards because we're all kind of same height. We're all about 6 feet, And then we'll work on defense, just kind of basic stuff. And we always get it running at the end, stay conditioned.
Does he ever bribe you motivate you with certain reward? What's that like?
Pizza.
I knew you were going to say that.
More running.
Yeah.
They get sick of pizza. We have pizza all the time.
For those that don't know, Coach runs $5 Pizza in Cedar City. It's really good.
Yeah.
Cody, I want to go back to you for just a second. The rivalry with Cedar, we're down here in St. George. We see what it's like when Dixie plays Pineview and Desert Hills plays Snow Canyon and Huracan plays Pineview. But we don't always get to see every single Cedar Canyon View game. What's that rivalry like since you've been in high school? What's that perception of how big that is for you guys?
That game's huge. Every year it's fun. We always go over there and play, and it's a fun environment. They always come to our place and play. But it's always a home court advantage. Last year we got both those games, and it was huge for us because, going into the season, they're always in the back of our heads. We want to, make bigger goals than obviously them, but we're always thinking about them and stuff like that. And this year it's just going to be a bigger competition and a better game, and hopefully we'll play our game and we'll see what happens.
Jackson, if I said, hey, Canyon View basketball, it's all about this? What would this be? What's the word that describes KMU basketball?
Family.
I wanted to ask about, I thought you were going to say make 'em believe. You guys are all wearing the make 'em believe t-shirts. Is that the motto for this year, Jackson Hayden?
Yeah, so I just feel like everybody looks at us and we're like undersized, and so they kind of underestimate us, but we want to show them that we're here to play.
I have to ask you then, Hayden, is it fun to play with a little chip on your shoulder?
I mean, it's nothing we're not used to.
Yeah.
I mean, we're underrated every sport, every year, doesn't matter. I mean, and we're used to it. We prove them wrong every year, so it's nothing new to us.
I like it.
Coach, going back to this year's team, I mean, what's your gauge on how this team fits in with all the kids coming back to the other schools? I felt like we had every year Region 9 just kind of reloads, but there's a lot of underclassmen that got a lot of experience last year. How does this, do you think you're going to be ultra competitive? You know, given night, I mean, anybody can win, I understand that, but give me your, I guess, gauge on the rest of the region.
Yeah, it's ironic. The day before we got these shirts in, the Deseret News came out with their things, which also Region 9 coaches, and that we got voted last, which of course, you know, I kind of like feel like Jordan at his Hall of Fame speech, like, thank you for doing that. But, you know, obviously, you got to look at Pineview, and they return all 5 starters. But that's almost kind of a scary spot to be in because you don't want to get too comfortable on that. I'm sure Coach Eves is doing all he can to make sure they don't get too comfortable. But I think we still fit in the mix as well as ever. I mean, last year we didn't lose a game by double figures. Our worst loss was at Snow Canyon by 9. And we had, you know, shots at the buzzer in both Dixie games to win it or tie it, and we missed them both. But that's, you know, the way we'll fall. But I think we still compete. I think we're still give ourselves a chance to win every night. And that's what we really just look at. The ball will go in or not, calls will go your way or not, but do you compete? Do you give yourselves a chance to win? And I feel like these kids are definitely prepared and motivated to do that every night. And so, you know, we'll coach them up the best we can. They'll prepare the best we can, and then we'll go out and compete the best we can. But I still think we're going to be, whether it matters or not, I still think we'll be in the top 3 or 4 mix, giving ourselves a chance to be one of those teams that gets a bye first round and a home game for the second round.
Well put from Coach Potter. 9th year at the helm at Canyon View. And guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for coming. Good luck this season. Legacy Invitational for the team. Big tournament this weekend. And then you guys open against Dixie on Tuesday, December 10th. Start Region 9 play. We'll take another time out. When we continue our Region 9 Basketball Media Day, Huracan Tigers will join us next. Stay with us.
1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. That means it could be you, your dog walker,
On your left.
your cat jogger. With early diagnosis, pre-diabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org.
I got you right where I want you. If I make this one, it's over. I win.
No pressure. Bring it.
We may not always play good, but when we want to look good, we come to the Dixie State Campus Store.
Located on the 2nd floor of the Gardner Center. We'll see you there.
Radio Dixie 91.3. We don't play that. Nope, not that. A big fat no there. That's what we play. And stuff like that. On St. George's only alternative, Radio Dixie 91.3. Oh, and from 9 till midnight, we play this. I need a one dance. And this. Radio Dixie 91.3 FM.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
For over a century, Dixie State University has been shaping the trailblazers of tomorrow by providing a culture of active learning, active life. With a paradigm of real-world experience mixed with cutting-edge technologies and rich traditions, we provide one of the most affordable educations in the West, set against the most stunning backdrop on the planet.
All right, man. Need you to go deep.
All right, I'll catch this one, I promise. Post route, back of the end zone.
Got it. Let's do it.
We may not always play good, but when we want to look good, we come to the Dixie State Campus Store.
Located on the second floor of the Gardner Center. We'll see you there.
And we welcome you back to our continued coverage of our high school basketball Region 9 Media Day. Devin Dixon, Andy Griffin, Mike McGarry, Andy Thompson hanging out with you here, part of the Sports Radio 97.7 sports team. We're going to be bringing you games all season long, starting next Tuesday when region play kicks off. And now joining us in the building, the Huracan Tigers. And let's get right to it. And it's Coach Langston in his 7th year. Coach, you're getting up there as far as seniority in the region. I mean, we just had Coach Potter in Candy View. He's in his 9th year. You guys are some of the veteran coaches now in Region 9. And welcome and thanks for being here. And then Coach has brought 3 players representing the Tigers. They moved the Tigers Den over here to the CEC TV studios. Bryce Thomas, Daxton Daly, and TJ Miner. We'll get to the players in just a second. But Coach, let's start with you and bring us up to speed. Talk about the offseason. Give us a preview of the Tigers this year.
Well, we're really looking forward to this coming season. Played a lot of ball this summer. Played about 65 games on the varsity level. So we spent half of May and all of June and part of July playing basketball. A lot of open gyms since then. Had a chance to build a lot of team chemistry. Really looking forward to this year. I feel like the region's wide open. A lot of great basketball teams in the region this year. Looking forward with these 3 guys here, returning 2 of them as starters last year. TJ and Bryce both started for me all last year, and we had a successful season last year. And Dax saw a considerable amount of time. And one nice thing about Dax is he's grown about 4 inches in the off season. So looking for him to do other things besides just shoot the ball for us. So we're excited, looking forward to this year.
You mentioned a good season last year. You guys were 3rd in Region 9. You guys were 7-5. How did you approach the offseason? Did the guys want to push for more tournaments, more games, or was that something with this group you just knew you could go do it?
These guys have been hungry. They want to be successful. They're not happy with 3rd in region. They feel like that we can be better than that. They put a lot of time in. I feel like we have really good team chemistry. We've got 7 seniors that have all played some varsity time throughout last season, played together all this year, and I feel like that there's really good chemistry, and kids are willing to pay the price and do whatever they need to do to be successful.
Besides, go ahead.
You go.
I was just going to say, tell us more about the roster. I mean, you got your boys on the team, and then you've got that junior class last year that you just mentioned, but give us some names. What is that rotation going to look like this year for the Tigers to start the year?
Well, basically, starting-wise, we'll have these 3 guys here that will start for us, and then my 2 sons will be the wing players. That's probably the way we'll start, and we have Jensen Entz, who will be a senior, plays the guard position, will do a good job for us. And we also have Kaysen Ballard, who didn't play for us last year, but is a senior this year. Kind of a scrappy, hard-nosed player. So those are our seniors, and we have some juniors that are going to be very good, very quick, and looking for good things for them to help us also.
You had a really special player a couple of years ago in Jackson Last. Is his influence still felt on these young guys now? They played with him a little bit back then.
Yeah, we talk about Jackson a lot. Jackson brought a lot of good things to the team. He was very unselfish, and I feel like that these guys have learned from him, and they know that it's going to take a team effort for us to be successful and good ball movement. And I think that they're willing to do that. Jackson always was looking to help somebody else get open, and because of that, he was such a great ball player.
I remember one time he drove the lane and he was going to lay it in, and he realized he was high enough he was just going to dunk it. I wonder if Bryce is going to be doing that a little bit this year too.
Bryce thinks he's going to be, but Bryce is about 6 inches shorter than Jackson. But he does have good hops, so if he can do that, more power to him.
Yeah.
He's got the green light, right?
He does have the green light, as long as he makes it.
Yeah, we've been asking and talking to a lot of the coaches. Obviously this year, a little something new in the wrinkle is the RPI and how that affects. Do you talk about that? Do you think about it? And maybe personally as a coach, What about the RPI?
Well, it definitely makes the off-season a little more valuable. The wins are more important than they've been in the past. I mean, before it's like, hey, let's try this to get ready for Region 9, because Region 9 is going to depend on whether we get in the state tournament or get a play-in game, where now the RPI rating, is going to make a big difference as far as if you get in the top 10, you get to bye the first round. So I think every game probably has more meaning than it has in the past. So, you have to look at, when you get a chance to win, you definitely want to do that. Where in the past, I think sometimes you give up a win for experience and trying different things in the preseason, where now those are important wins.
I don't want to put any words in your mouth, but some coaches have said things like it kind of keeps that push right through the entire season. In other words, what you do down the stretch, and sometimes that's your best basketball.
Yeah, that's true. So, one game at a time. We got Juan Diego this Friday. We'll start there and start one game at a time after that.
They're only 4th in the state. Not bad. Way to start.
Well,
right there.
Coach, I'm curious, what would you say the personality is of this team, especially your leaders? Super vocal guys? Is it a quieter group compared to ones you've had in the past, or what's it kind of like this year?
I would say about the same as normal. We talk about communication, how important it is on the floor, and I feel like we have good team leadership from our seniors, and so they were very good to talk to each other when we changed from different defenses. Making sure that everybody's on the same page. Bryce is our starting point guard, of course, so he's kind of the most vocal guy. He gets us into our sets, offensively and defensively, and so we expect big things from him and letting people know what they need to do.
Seems like a lot of the rest of the state is a little more up-tempo than Region 9. Region 9, we slow it down a little bit, play a lot, in my mind, tougher defense. Do you anticipate that changing at all, or is Region 9 still going to be the same old kind of hard-nosed region?
I think it'll still be a hard-nosed region. It always seems to be that way. You kind of grind it out, move the basketball. We talk about value in the basketball, taking care of it, making the easy pass, make people work on defense, and then, of course, us working hard on defense, too. It all starts on the defensive end of the floor.
Well, I'm curious, kind of addressing that same topic, does high school basketball need a shot clock? Because there are teams that would love to pass it around for even a team in this region that likes to pass it around for about 2 minutes before they shoot.
Well, if we were playing Dixie, I would say that we'd like a shot clock.
I didn't say it. You said
it. I'm just teasing Tyler.
I want a shot clock.
Yeah.
It definitely would make the game more interesting, probably. But most of the times, 30-second shot clock, most teams shoot within 30 seconds anyway.
Most.
Coach, scheduling, with the RP in mind, when you heard about it, did you change anything on your schedule, or was the schedule done, or were you able to play a couple tougher teams? I mean, the goal is to play good teams and beat good teams, and you'll be just fine.
Right. Usually you would do our schedule a year or two in advance, and so, you have a home and away, you kind of promise that back to the person you're playing. So pretty much, we went up to Juan Diego last year, and so they promised us a game, so we had worked with that, and then Richfield, same thing with them. So some of our preseason games, we promised Page last year that we would come back to their tournament. So things were pretty much set before the RPI came out. So maybe, going into the future, that might be something that we'll look at. We're just happy to play. We'll do the best we can, one game at a time, and wherever the chips fall, it really depends on how you're playing at the end of the year.
You only have one game before your first region game, is that correct?
Yeah, I that's one thing that I'm not real happy about. Usually we've gone to the preview. They changed that to 3A and 2A because of all of us having 14 region games in 4A, and so that made it to where so. We'll just beat up on each other until Juan Diego comes on Friday. And, it will be a tough first game, but we're looking forward to the challenge.
All right, we'll circle back to Coach Langston. Huracan Tigers is here with us. We got about 8.5 minutes left, so let's bring in the players. Bryce Thomas, Daxton Daly, TJ Miner. And Bryce, let's start with you, man. Just tell me about this upcoming season. It's your senior season. You've already, proven that you're a scorer and a distributor in Region 9, and you can play with anybody. And tell me about the excitement level for you and your teammates going into the year.
I think that, I'm excited. I've been working really hard this offseason. I think, the team's going to be really good this year. We have, played with each other since, 4th grade in, border leagues and stuff. But I think we can hang with anybody in the region.
How many points a game did you roughly average in the summer? You guys played a lot of games.
Probably, 15, I'd say, you think?
Yeah, at least.
How hard is that from the point guard? Because you need to score some nights more than others, and then you need to distribute and get in the sets and run what coach wants and get other guys looks?
Like depends like what I can do. If I can go to the basket, then go to the basket. If I can drive and kick, then I need to do that. But it just depends like what the defense is going to give me, I guess.
If you ask somebody about Region 9, they'd say, oh yeah, well Pineview and Dixie and let's see, Snow Canyon, Desert Hills are pretty good. Nobody would mention Canyon View or Huracan. Do you guys feel like you have to fight the perception sometimes that Huracan's underrated or whatever? What do you think, Daxton?
Personally, I don't really care what anyone thinks. I think that we can, I don't know, we know how we play. We can play together. So I know that as a team we know what we're capable of, so we don't really, I mean, Coach Linkson always says we have a chip on our shoulder, so we always have had that ever since, as long as I can remember. So just, I don't know, just playing as a team and not really caring what anyone else thinks, really. So.
Too long ago that Huracan was winning the state championship in basketball at the Burns Arena. I remember that game.
Yeah, I was there.
I want to know about this growth spurt, man. What are your parents feeding you? What are you drinking?
I don't know. My dad's like 6'1", so I'm already taller than him, so I'm.
You haven't lost any of your coordination?
No,
it's all good?
No.
Shots good?
Yeah, I can. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's bring in TJ for just a second. Last year, I would describe you, TJ, as a hard-nosed bulldog. I mean, you were fighting for loose ball rebounds, getting good drop steps and trying to attack the basket. Have you added any elements to your game over the summer leading up to this season?
Yeah, I definitely think my range in the shot has extended to even the three, and I can play positions from 3, 4, 5. Well, I think if Coach will let, I don't know, but I think offensively my game has expanded a lot in ball handling and in shooting, and then as well as teamwork with the rest of my team and chemistry. I think the more I practice with them, the better I get and the better they get, and yeah.
Will depth be an issue, Coach? I mean, we talked about the starters a little bit. We haven't talked much about the bench.
No, I feel like we're going to be good 1 through 10. We've got some great kids in our program. We got a great sophomore class coming up. I'm not sure if any of them will get any varsity time this year, but real happy with our program there at Huracan High School, and look forward to a good year this year. A little bit about TJ. TJ's a hard matchup. He'll draw a kid that's 6'7", and he can shoot the three, or he can make a ball fake and get to the basket, and he's strong around the basket too. So this summer he did a great job, and he has expanded his ability to shoot the three, and so that's something we look forward to. As with all of our kids in our program, all the kids are great shooters from the three-point line. So.
Yeah, I would put Bryce right up there with the top 3 in the region in three-point shooting. I'd love to see Suds at Pineview, Bryce at Huracan, and then you could throw in a little Finlayson over at Dixie in a little three-point shooting contest. Earlier we were asking Suds about how many three-point shots he tries to get up in a day or in a week. Bryce, what's that like for you? How do you balance how many shots you get up versus other things you're working on to complete your game?
Well, I go to my church every morning, so I probably go for like an hour. I don't know how many shots that would be, but then I stay after practice and get some shots up. I don't know, a couple hundred a day, I would say.
I love to hear that. I'm sure the Huracan fans love to hear that as well. You're a triplet. Little known fact, he is a triplet. What's that like having, I've never been a twin. I don't understand that dynamic, but you're a triplet.
Well, I get asked that question a lot. I don't know what it would be like if I wasn't a triplet, but I have to share a lot with my siblings. That's the biggest thing. I have to share.
Because coach wants you to share too.
Yeah.
That's right. Daxton and Coach talked about your growth spurt. We've talked about it. You were an awesome shooter last year, especially in the Tigers den. What kind of elements to your offensive game have you expanded, I guess, with your newfound height?
Just being able to play around the bucket even. Like my role this year won't be just to get in and shoot. It'll be to obviously defend and rebound, but score at every level. So having that height and size is definitely an advantage versus being whatever I was last year. So.
TJ, obviously you don't play in the other region, so it's maybe a little tough question, but Region 9 has always been hard-nosed, go at it, great competition. Is there a team out there that you think here we go, this is the guy I want to get, or the guys?
Not any specifically. I myself like playing against bigger people. Like as a kid, I was always the biggest to play against, and every once in a while I'd play with someone that was a few inches taller than me, and it was so fun to manhandle them. So
should I make a note here, Lemke versus?
Yeah, I'm excited to play kids like him. So yeah.
Cool.
Coach, what's the best one word that would describe this year's team? Is there one that just pops to the top of the noggin?
Shooters.
Is that sometimes a challenge to rein them in, or do you got green light anytime, anywhere?
You know what? We rein them in a little bit, but if they have a good look, I told them they can't play for me if they can't make a shot. So they're all good shooters. That's one thing we can do. And the nice thing is that we can get to the basket too. So we can spread the floor, look to attack, or attack and kick. And we got guys that can shoot the ball. So I'm encouraged by that.
It feels like this is going to be the year of the three-point shot, which might play right into Bryson, into what you do. More than ever, the three-point shot is an integral part of basketball. Do you feel like that if you're successful, if Huracan's going to win, you have got to make threes?
No. But it does need to go inside out. TJ's great around the basket. Dax can score around the basket. We've got guys that can score around the basket. I think it's important that we don't just come down and fall in love with the three. When the pressure of the game is on, a two-pointer around the basket is a lot easier to make than a 19-foot jump shot. And so we'll definitely try to go inside out, but that being said, we can shoot the three. We got guys that can shoot it.
Haven't talked a lot of defensive with you guys. How many, Dax, I'll ask you, how many different half-court, full-court, zones, mans, how many different defensive schemes do the Huracan Tigers have? Just a rough estimate.
Probably 8 or 7. I don't know, 7 or 8 that we can play well. So I don't know what Coach has in store after that, but
don't worry. Hey, first game for the Huracan Tigers is Friday against Juan Diego. Huge early season opener for the Tigers. Coach, guys, thanks for being here. Best of luck this season. Enjoyed our time.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Huracan Tigers coming off third place finish, looking to improve on that for the upcoming season. We'll take a timeout. More Media Day coverage right after this break. Desert Hills will join us coming up next.
You know, we may have started out small, but we were great. Families and fans rallied behind their team. The community cared, and everyone showed up to cheer. Now, we're bigger than ever. Dixie State is going to Division I.
Here we go in transition, and he throws it down with one hand. Catch me!
But at the end of the day, it's the community and fans that make us great. Whether you give $5 or $1,000, every dollar, every seat in the stands, every one of you can help blaze our trail to Division I athletics. Because this is our team.
When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. Now I'm anything but lonely.
We have this deep connection, this heart connection.
He just wants to be close to you and part of your life.
Every day with Turtle is a perfect day.
When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer.
I think everything he does shows how much he loves us.
When we adopt a shelter pet,
we discover
they're a little bit of a lot of things,
but they're all pure love.
1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your favorite brother, your other brother, you, your football buddy, your football buddy, you, the boss's boss. If 1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes, that means it could be you, your barber, your barber's barber.
Nice work. Thanks.
You, your plumber,
Breathe right into your foot.
your plumber's masseuse.
Yes.
You, your dog walker,
On your left.
your cat jogger. Or you, your co-pilot, your co-pilot's co-pilot. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org to know where you stand.
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, good. You played before, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's all state in high school.
Good. Let's run some routes. Give me a post route.
All right, let's do it.
We may not always play good, but when we want to look good, we come to the Dixie State Campus Store.
Located on the 2nd floor of the Gardner Center. We'll see you there.
And welcome back to our continued coverage of our Region 9 Basketball Media Day. And we've already heard from Pineview, Dixie, Snow Canyon, Canyon View, and just moments ago the Huracan Tigers. But we've got the Desert Hills Thunder coming up right now. And want to remind everybody, if you missed any of today's coverage or you're just tuning in on the radio, you can go to our sportsradio977.com website. You can watch all your favorite teams and relive it on demand later on tonight. All right, let's get to the Desert Hills Thunder. We're going to do things a little bit different. We're going to start with the players, and representing the Thunder today, we've got Mason Chase, we've got Quinn Marchant, we've got Mr. Sampson over there, and then we've got Jace Mortensen. And Jace, we'll start with you, man. How's practice going, and how was the summer, and kind of bring us up to speed on what you guys have been up to?
Practices have been going really good lately. I feel like we've connected and started off a lot stronger this year as opposed to last year. During the summer, we went to UVU, Dixie State, those team camps, and we did really well at those ones, and I'm feeling really good. We're looking really good so far.
Let's bring in Coach Turley. Coach, how much fun are you having doing this? Back for another season at the helm of Desert Hills, and obviously got a lot of guys that had a lot of experience coming off your season a year ago.
Having a lot of fun, scrambling to get over here on time.
That's all right.
You didn't hit another deer, though.
No, you heard about that, huh? Yeah, pretty crazy. No, I'm excited with this group. These seniors are doing a great job with their leadership. Kids are hungry. They want to have a great year, and they're being really coachable, listening to us, and trying to put themselves in a great position to have success. And we've come together as a staff and as a team and tried to come up with some goals and objectives, and I think these guys have had a lot of input, and so they're all in. They've bought into what we're trying to do, and so I'm excited about that.
Let's go to Mason for just a second. Mason, you did make the playoffs last year. That had to sting a little bit.
Yeah.
How much has that driven you and your teammates in the offseason?
I think it was huge. That's, it's given us a chip on our shoulder. That's kind of, sore or a sour taste in your mouth after that last season. So I know every single one of us, the second the season ended, we were back in the gym, we were lifting, we were working hard, and I think it really, just put a chip on our shoulder. We want to come back, we're hungry to get better, and we want to win.
Coach, catch us up to speed. I mean, what tournaments did you guys play? Did you do things any differently? And then I got to get your take, like we have been with all the coaches, on your individual thoughts on the RPI. Obviously, it's a big change on who you play and who you can beat and how you can get rated as high as you can and try to get a bye into the playoffs.
We kind of did the same stuff we've done over the summer. We like to go to the UVU camp and play a lot of 4A, 5A, 6A schools. And we actually performed really well towards the end of the week and won that tournament. So we felt good about that. And then obviously Dixie State here with Coach Checkins. Great competition there, and we learned a lot going through that. And then, what was the second part of your question?
Oh, the RPI.
The RPI. It is what it is. I try to look at the positives. There's been years in the past where we've matched up with, us being maybe a top 2 or 3 team, and we're matching up with a tough region, and usually, sometimes it happens, the best 2 teams play each other in the semifinals. Like us and Ridgeline maybe a few years ago, if you remember that. I felt like we were the top 2 teams. And so I think this may help with that a little bit. And the downside, obviously, is, sometimes you play a region team 3 times, and it's hard to beat a team 3 times. But it is what it is, and we're just excited to take a game at a time and try to get better and be playing our best basketball by the end of the season.
How much have you changed over the years, Wade, as a head basketball coach, former head football coach? I don't know if you guys knew that. He used to coach football as well, but how have you changed? Have you evolved as a coach?
I think you have to. Obviously, I think I'm a little more patient than I used to be. I've got some great assistant coaches, Coach Willa Hokinson and Chris Allred. I delegate a lot of responsibility to them. because we've built that trust and belief in each other, and I think the players feed off on that. So when any of us are talking, it's just like hearing the same voice, and that makes it nice, you know, as a head coach, as a leader of this team, that I can rely on great assistants and great senior leaders to help in that process.
Andy stole my question. I figured as the oldest guy in the room here,
He's never done that before, has he?
Yeah, never. But actually, and as far as you look over the years and you see, isn't the consistency, I think, and having good guys and the kids know growing up, that's what makes a program excel? Is that not right?
I think there's a lot of truth to that, for sure. There's more stability, and if kids feel that, I think they have a little better chance of succeeding versus knowing, you know, the unknowns and what could happen in different situations where these kids and the players have seen us in lots of different environments and different situations, and I think just that consistent leadership helps to provide some confidence, hopefully, for these kids.
Coach, after a rare kind of down year, I guess, by not making the playoffs, what are some of the couple focus points for this year coming in the offseason, stuff like that, with this particular group that you guys have focused on heading into this season?
So that's a great question. I think when you have a down year like we had, and we haven't had many of them, you know, you self-reflect quite a bit. And I think one of the things we realized we needed to get back to doing the fundamentals, the little things that make a huge difference at the end. And these guys, I think, realized that and understood that, and they helped us come up with some things. And so I think it's just getting back to the fundamentals and executing those things really well, and the big things will take care of themselves.
Coach, I want to go back to the scheduling just for a second, kind of in regards to the RPI, and then we'll move on. But was your schedule set in advance so you didn't have a chance to tweak anything? Because it looks like you're playing, you know, the Coach Walk, and you're playing the Ken Robinson. You're playing a lot of the tournaments you always have.
Yeah, really the only difference was there in Richfield. We've gone to that for several years in a row, and that's been a great tournament. When I talked to Richard up there, he felt like it was going more towards a 2A, 3A, and he just asked, do I want to stay in it and play those teams, or do I want to look elsewhere? And about that same time, I had been talking to Skyview's head coach, and they've done the North versus South, and they really wanted to pick us up, and I thought that would be a great test for us early in the year, so that's what we're doing. We're going to go up north and play Ridgeline and Skyview this weekend.
Huge.
Yeah.
I mean, defending state champs in Skyview, and you'll be up there. Dixie's up there too, right? Or is it Pineview?
No, it's Pineview.
Pineview's up there as well.
Yeah. And we play Pineview the third game next week, you know, next Tuesday, the first region game. So we get to see each other. It's kind of a good scouting opportunity for both teams, so it'll be good.
Desert Hill's hanging out with us here. We got about 9 minutes left. Our Region 9 Media Day coverage brought to you by Bloomington Country Club. We'll have our Monday Night Football party later on tonight. And I also appreciate Sports Performance. They got their second location at the Nets on Fire, and they got an open house on Wednesday night that's open to the public from 5:30 to 7:30. Let's bring back in the guys, Mason Chase, Quinn Marchant, Mr. Sampson, and Mr. Morty over there. And let's start with Quinn. Quinn, we haven't talked to you at all yet. What do you see your role, and what have you worked on in the offseason to help the team and get back into the state tournament with a high seed this year?
So I wasn't getting many varsity minutes last year, so I've just been getting to feel the guys. I've built a special relationship with every one of them, and at the UVU and Dixie camp, I feel I can help the team. I have an outside shot. I have soft touch in the post, and I feel like I've improved my rebounding and staying in front of my defenders. So I think that's what I can contribute.
You got a hook shot?
Yeah, little middle hook shot.
Are you the main guy in practice that's kind of muscling back and forth with Munson?
Yeah, me and Munson go at it, make each other better.
Bring in Brady for just a second. Brady, what's your strength? Are you a pure distributor, or you want to shoot a little bit more, or you got a nice little balance there?
I like to get other people open, so drive in, pull their defender, kick it out to Mason or whoever. Our whole team is a really good shooter. And if I'm open and I get the pass, I'm ready to knock it down. And I also have this shot called the Bard Special. It's one dribble, pull up, full jump shot. You'll probably see it.
Don't give away your secrets.
They can't stop it anyway.
There you go.
You know, nowadays, there's a lot of really good three-point shooters, and there's pretty good people around the basket. There's not a lot of good mid-range shooters, and that's a talent, skill that he has that we'll use. So he brings that.
Mason, there's You're kind of the it guy this year for Desert Hills. I'm adding up the ballots here for our preseason, and your name seems to be on just about every ballot. Do you feel some pressure that you've got to produce this year if your team's going to be successful?
I feel it, but I don't think it'll get to me. I'm prepared, I fully realize that I'm one of the leaders of this team. Everything I do it's going to reflect down to the other players. So I know that I have a lot of responsibility, but I'm fully prepared to take that on.
Jace, I wanted to ask you a little bit about Munson and Holmes. I mean, they were underclassmen last year, sophomores that kind of really had to play some minutes. How have they evolved, and how integral are they to your success this year?
A big part. They're in the starting 5. They're in the top 6, 7. They're gonna get lots of minutes. And last year, we had 5 sophomores, them, and then 3 others that were playing varsity, getting varsity minutes. And so, our team's young this year, and they're gonna contribute a ton to us and help us out a ton.
How are you doing it, man? I mean, you're one of the rare guys in region that's still playing 3 sports at the varsity level. You just don't see that much anymore. Guys are trying to specialize with 1 or 2. I can only imagine what your summer schedule's like, buddy. But how easy is it? How hard is it for you? Because I know you're a sports-minded family. So is it just I've always got something to do and it's not that big a deal?
It's been since day one. It's how it's been. So I've just gotten used to it. I mean, always just having something on my schedule. Never really an off season. So it's good. It keeps me busy.
Are you the only football player that plays basketball at D Hills?
No, there's a couple more. There's Hiram. He's playing basketball again this year, and then there's some sophomores too.
3-point shot, we've been talking about it all day today with every team. It seems like this is the year of the 3. How are you guys fixed for the 3-point shot compared to, Pineview, that was a big part of their championship last year. Canview always flings it from outside. You guys feel like you're in pretty good shape at 3-point shot wise?
I do, especially if it's the right 3. We don't want kids just dribbling it down, taking a 3, but if it's a good inside-out pass and in a rhythm, we really believe in rhythm, being in your rhythm as a shooter. And if it's a good pass in the right spot and it's in your shot pocket and you're in rhythm, let it fly,
Transition through?
If it's open, yeah. Especially if it's an inside-out, kick it out and you're in your rhythm, that's a great shot. So out of a rebound, offensive rebound, those are really hard to defend because everyone's going crashing the boards and you kick those out. So it's a big part of the game nowadays. Kids practice it a lot, and I think we're finding more and more really good 3-point shooters than maybe we had 15 years ago, 10 years ago. So because they shoot a lot of them, and they're good at it.
Brady, let me ask you, each team that's come in, when we ask what I feel like their strengths are, the idea of family or cohesiveness comes up. I assume you feel the same about your team, and tell us how that fits into becoming a better basketball team.
It's like we all know we have each other's backs on the court, but I feel like, especially off the court, if any of us have a problem with school, with work, whatever we have, we're all there for each other. We're talking, we're going together, we're going out to lunch, dinner, whatever it is. And so I think being together, it helps us be trusting each other on the court. Like, all right, I'm going to pass this out to Morty because I know he can make that 3. Like, I trust Quinn in the post. I'll hit him in the post. I know he can do his little hook shot or whatever. So I think it helps a lot.
You trust the Bart jumper? Bart shot?
Bart special.
All right, I
mid-range jumper.
I made a note of it.
Mason, you were one of the most exciting guys in region last year in transition, getting alley-oops and stuff like that. With some new guards this year in transition, how's that going to go for you? I mean, we're expecting some big plays in the Thunderdome with you throwing it down, obviously, but what's that been like working with some new guys, especially when you're full force ahead?
It's good. We got a lot of kids that can bring the ball up, so really, most of the time it's whoever gets the rebound, brings it up, pushes. We have a huge emphasis on running the floor, so getting to your spots, and if we can get rebounds, push and run, then there's going to be exciting things that happen.
Hey Quinn, who's the best big man in the region besides you?
I think me and Munson are up there. We got TJ Minor's a great player. Noah Lemke's a big guy. Some of those guys. Dallin Grant's a big guy, but he's playing more than 3 or 4.
Let's talk about 3-pointers, and you're just like, no, just throw it to me in the post, baby. Right?
Yes, sir.
The heck with a 3-pointer.
He can actually shoot the 3 pretty well. So
I want to be back in, Coach, on Crimson. Crimson, it seems like, when Pineview got rated and Desert Hills opened up, there was that split. It seems like a lot of kids from Desert Hills are now at Crimson. Are you feeling that as far as maybe a budding rivalry, or what's that? I know Trey Rockhill's over there now. He played some pretty good minutes for you guys this last season.
Yeah, we had, especially the sophomores and the freshmen, they took a good chunk from us. So, it's going to take a little bit of rebuilding on our part, but I think it's just it'll probably be a natural rivalry, especially when we played with a lot of those kids earlier, and so. When we match up, it'll be a fun game, and I'm sure they'll want to outdo each other and get after it. So, yeah, it's kind of a natural rivalry, I'm sure.
I know you're a one game at a time kind of guy and team, and that's the mindset a lot of our coaches in Region 9 have. But just kind of give us your overall thoughts on the region this year.
Man, I think it's as tough from top to bottom than I've seen in a long time. The Canyon View probably doesn't get a lot of publicity, but they're tough. We played them this summer, and if you don't have your A game, they'll get you, and his coach always has those kids playing hard. And Crimson, they were very competitive this summer as well. They had some transfers from Dixie and Pineview and Snow Canyon, and as well as our school, so they'll be very competitive. There's not a game that you can go in and just feel like, hey, this is going to be an easy game. Every one of them is going to be a dogfight. And so if the kids don't bring that mindset, we could easily get upset.
Last game of the year last year, you guys beat Pineview, and I know that was a sweet taste for you, but bittersweet because you ended the season not where you wanted to be. Can you talk about what that game meant, and is it a springboard for this year? Maybe Wade, maybe talk to Mason a little bit too about that.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I felt like we kind of went through a little lull there, and that's the first year I've ever had to play that many sophomores. And, there was some growing pains there. There was a lot of learning that had to take place, and so I feel like that experience and that learning process, should give us some great moments this year. But yeah, we played pretty well against Dixie that second half. I think we lost by 3 or 4 points. And obviously they were a top team last year in our region. And then to beat Pineview on their home floor, that did give us a little confidence moving forward. And I think it gave us springboard into the summer, and we had a good summer. And so hopefully we'll just continue rolling and getting better every day, and hopefully be on top at the end of the season.
2 big tests for Desert Hills right out of the gate this Thursday and Friday. Ridgeline and the defending state champ Skyview Bobcats. And then at Pineview to start region play next Tuesday, December the 10th. Coach, guys, best of luck this season. Thanks for the time. We'll see you on the court.
Thank you. Appreciate you having us.
That's our segment with the Desert Hills Thunder. We're not done yet. We've got a couple teams still to come. Cedar and Crimson still coming up inside of our Region 9 Media Day coverage here from the CEC TV studios. Quick break, and we're right back at it.
Where do you find the titans of classical music in St. George? Classical music on Radio St. George, 100.3 FM. Where do you find the legends of jazz? Evenings on Radio St. George, 100.3 FM.
Action!
For over a century, Dixie State University has been shaping the trailblazers of tomorrow by providing a culture of active learning, active life. With a paradigm of real-world experience mixed with cutting-edge technologies and rich traditions, we provide one of the most affordable educations in the West, set against the most stunning backdrop on the planet.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
Actually, no, I'm not busy right now. Yeah, I can talk. I can talk.
We may not always play good, but when we want to look good, we come to the Dixie State Campus store.
Located on the second floor of the Gardner Center. We'll see you there.
There is a place where the sun doesn't hide in the winter, where the greens stay green and the crimson canyons still glow. There is a place where dimples determine destiny, and a tiny wooden tee holds the outcome in the balance. There is a place where we drive for show, putt for dough, and settle the score with another round. There is a place.
And we welcome you back here to the CEC TV studios. This is about the, 5th year in a row that CEC has hosted us for our Region 9 Basketball Media Day coverage, and we're really excited to be here again. We're not done yet. We've got the Cedar Redmond joining us. Media Day coverage brought to you by Bloomington Country Club. We'll be over there later tonight and the rest of the season for our Monday Night Football parties. Also by the new Sports Performance Center at Nets on Fire, their second location. Their grand opening is on Wednesday, and it's open to the public. And we appreciate our friends at Bucks Ace Hardware and Coral Desert Orthopedics. I'm Devin Dixon. I got Andy Griffin, Mike McGarry, Andy Thompson, the ESPN Sports team. We're going to be bringing you a ton of high school Region 9 basketball. But today, we're just getting you ready. We're getting you all warmed up, and Coach Esplin has got the guys traveled down from Cedar City to join us, and Coach has brought 3 guys from this year's team to represent the Reds. Of course, that's a topic with the new nickname, Coach, and you're a first-year head coach, but not new to Cedar and not new to coaching at Cedar High School.
No, I've been around for quite a while. Been through most of them. I have talked to a few of the region coaches. I've coached against most of them as a JV coach, so it won't be the first time I've met everybody. I Crimson Cliffs and Snow Canyon's coach. Crimson's Cliffs coach, I've coached against him when he was at Bear River, so we've been around a long time.
Yeah, no question. Representing the Reds, I'm not going to say that wrong today. We've got 3 players. Want to introduce them, and we'll get to them in just a second. We've got Landon Barney, Branson Coates, and Dallin Grant. But, Coach, let's start with you and just kind of bring us up to speed on how you decided to leave the girls' basketball program, take the boys' job, and talk about what you guys did in the offseason, getting ready for the season. And then give us kind of an inside look at the roster and what your rotation could look like.
Okay. As far as taking the job, Coach Beck decided to move on at the middle of April, I think. The opportunity came up. I was asked to kind of come over. Would you be willing to go back to the girls or leave the girls and come back to the boys? And I thought about it for about 3 or 4 days. Kind of watching these guys, I know there's a lot of talent here, and I thought, maybe I do want to go try this. And so I said, sure, I'll come over, take the chance. As far as the team goes, we are going to be young. We only have 2 seniors with Landon and Branson. Everybody else will be juniors or sophomores. So we are a fairly young team. We will be fairly long. We will start 6'8", 6'7", 6'3", so we will be fairly long as far as the rest of the region goes. We probably will be 8, 9 guys deep, and we'll play from there and see how it goes.
Did you have second thoughts? I mean, did your wife push you over? Did these guys come to you and say, Coach, we want you to be the coach? Give me more on that backstory.
Not really. It was kind of my decision. Like I said, it was kind of, I never thought I was going to be a head coach. I'd kind of been a lifetime assistant. I've coached football, basketball, and baseball, all of them up there. Enjoy being around the kids. That's really what pushed me over. I enjoy being around kids during this time. And as far as my wife goes, she's very supportive. Don't see her a whole lot during 9 months because of what I do. She's been great, so couldn't ask for a better wife in that case.
Devin brought it up. I might as well ask about the Reds nickname. I guess we'll bring the players in a minute, but I'll ask you, being a longtime Cedar guy, was it frustrating?
It's not frustrating. The decision's been made from powers beyond me on up the chain. It's over. We are the Reds, and we are going to carry on the traditions that were there before. Cedar High School is still Cedar High School. We still wear red and gold. We still have a great band. That's us. So they changed our name. We just need to set the new tradition and set it just like we did the old one.
Well, like a championship to set a tradition.
That would be really good. That'd be really good to go out and set one.
Let's continue all the changes then. Let me get your thoughts on the RPI. A little different look, obviously, this year. I don't know how you look at it, but give me your feeling.
The RPI, I've got mixed feelings. I think it takes away some of the rivalries in region play. Doesn't put as much on the region play because now every game counts, not just region. Loved playing in Region 9 with region championships on the line. Coached with Coach Carden where we had some really good battles and stuff. And it was fun coming down on a Wednesday and a Friday night and watching the gyms be packed. Will we have that same thing when it's really not? Is there as much on the line for a region championship? Or is it about the preseason more and then just being able to go through? How is it? I still think you get the tournament, who knows what happens. That's always the thing, get to the tournament, who knows. If you look at some of the football, you have a few teams coming from down. I think with the exception of the lower classes, everybody else was higher ranks. You know, Corner Canyon was 1, but they ended up playing a 5 or a 6. Orem was coming out of the 10th spot. So I don't know if it's really matched power against power because you still have difference in regions, difference in preseason. When was the kids hurt? Hurt in preseason, but they're back in the final. That's a really good team that's going to be down in the RPI. And you run into them and you're mid-pack. Now, is it fair that way? I don't know. So I think there's still some things to be done. I think there needs to be something about region championship should mean something. They should be able to play at home in the first round and not have to go on the road and play a team that finished 3rd in another region. Pineview High School in football. Shouldn't have had to go on the road to play a 3.
Good point.
Coach, you coached boys for a long time. You had a lot of success in 1 year coaching the girls. Is there a couple things maybe coaching girls that kind of open your mind a little bit, or you learned
love coaching the girls. Love coaching the girls. Basketball's basketball. It's a little slower, maybe not quite as above the rim, maybe not as good at shooting as far as a team goes. But it wasn't. It's basketball. It's fun to coach. The girls were great. They were fun to coach. They worked hard. But I expect the same thing out of these guys. And they've learned a few things that I brought over from the girls. Coached again with Coach Nelson, who I've coached with, I think, 17 or 18 years. And we're working on those things.
I don't want to take anything away from our time here with the boys, but how good a chance do the girls have to do it again this year?
I believe they return their top 8. If they can stay healthy and they can get it together as a team, they are definitely the front runners. Not going to put any pressure on them, but there's some great girls there, and they should be favored. We'll find out early. They've got some tough games in the next couple weeks.
He's Coach Esplin, Cedar Reds with us here today. Let's get the players' take on the upcoming season, and we'll circle back to Coach for a few more questions in just a second. Let's just start with you, Branson. Branson, you didn't get much time at all last year. I don't remember seeing you play a varsity game. Maybe you did, but I don't remember seeing it. If you did, it was probably just sparingly at the end of the game. So tell me a little bit about your game, and is this basketball your one love, or do you play other sports?
I play tennis and basketball. I used to run cross country, but something that always comes to basketball. I just love the guys and the coaches. I've known Coach Esplin for a long time, and he's a big reason I came back, and Coach Monks. But I just love the players and the intensity of a basketball game. Even just sitting there, being with the guys, cheering them on, and even getting in for a couple minutes and stuff, working hard every day. It's all worth it to me, just in that aspect of things. So.
What's your role on this year's team gonna be?
I thought coaches kind of pulled me aside and stuff, and I hold a leadership role on this team. Like as I was saying, all of us are pretty good friends on the team, and kind of just being a leadership role, keeping the intensity up at practice, and that kind of stuff.
Landon, you did get some time last year. You averaged about 3-4 points a game. What's the offseason been like? What have you been working on?
Offseason for me has really been working on my 15-foot range, like inside the paint. So I got stronger. Got a lot more mentally tough. This summer I averaged, I think, 10 points a game just off 2-foot putbacks, stuff like that. So that's my game now. I can go outside, hit the 3, but before in the season I had no idea where I was. But now I'm feeling like I'm pretty good.
And I feel like Dallin, let's bring you in. Dallin, you kind of had some frustration last year. I mean, injured, and then you're back, and then you kind of re-aggravate some things. I'm guessing you're ready to put that season behind you and move on to this season.
For sure. Yeah, no, last year just had I was in and out with injuries and that kind of a thing. But I mean, I've worked to get better and just get over that injury and just put it behind me, And I'm ready for this upcoming season, and I've just been working on getting stronger and just worked on my entire game as a whole.
How tall are you, Dallin?
6'7".
6'7", man. But you have guard-like skills, right? I mean,
yeah.
So how's Coach working that in with you? I mean, are you playing guard? Are you playing a little post too, or?
Yeah, I just play like whatever role I'm needed at the time. I'm just gonna go out there and do what I need to. Like I can guard a guard or a post. Doesn't matter. I'll just go out there and do what I feel I need to do to help my team win.
6'7", does that count your hair too? Because you and Barney over here have some pretty high hair.
No, I'm a true 6'7".
All right.
What's the recruiting process like? I've been hearing that you're getting a lot of Pac-12 offers. Tell us who's offered you and how you're trying to balance that and your future with the now and playing high school basketball with your brothers.
So far, people who have offered me was SUU, Utah, Stanford, BYU, and Dixie State. Those are my main offers. I'm receiving interest from other schools as well, but how I balance that with just like my high school and then also looking at my future. I just got to focus on what's happening right now, and like the thing is, as long as I'm doing the right things right now to get to the goals in the future. Just keep focusing on the now and not really look too much into the future, because doing what I need to do now is going to help me for the future.
Stanford's offering, that means you're pretty good in the classroom too, right?
Yeah.
Very nice, very nice.
Coach, did you have some players that didn't come back? Is Santana back? Is Dallin Peterson back? I mean, what's the roster look like?
Dallin Peterson, because of an injury that he hurt during football, and has chose not to come back this year. Zab is back. We lost Bailey Oswald, the only junior I think that didn't come back. So we return quite a few. Luke Armstrong will be back. Zab, Trayton Tebbs. Trey Payne's a good been a good football player for me. He's actually he's a good wrestler, but he's actually going to play basketball this year. So we were kind of talking about him on the way down. He's kind of a bruiser. Gage Savage is another kid that saw quite a bit of time last year that's back. He's grown. So like I said, we will be young, but we've got kids that have played quite a bit. 2 seniors, so counting on those two to be our leadership team, and along with Dallin. But we've got quite a bit of experience coming back. We're expecting some good things. Changing a few things about defensive mindset. Hopefully we'll be better. Scored a lot of points last year and lost some games when we couldn't stop people.
Let me just ask Landon your thoughts. Looking at Region 9, what do you see out there? Is it any different than any other year? Are there some special things happening, or is it here we go again?
I see it as the same every single year. Like, we have competition. The Dixie's looking really well. Like, we have the same competition that we had last year, and I think something that changed this year with us is we just changed our mentality. Like, before it was all a one-on-one basis, but now it's defense is everything, and defense will transition into our offense.
Cool, good, thanks.
Dallin, I know you've been coached by Coach Esplin before, but what's the transition been like from one head coach to another for you specifically?
Well, I don't know. It's just like kind of the whole mentality shift. I feel like the whole team's like we're all kind of on the same page this year. Like I felt like years past, like it's kind of been this guy is like focused on scoring, this guy's focused on this, and this year I feel like we all have the same goal and we're like a lot better. Like we're a better team now. Like we're just more together than we have been in the past.
Who's the best redhead in the region?
Dallin Grant. Hey Branson, I wanted to ask you. Candyview was here earlier, and I was asking him a little bit about the rivalry. When we're down here in St. George, and I don't get to every Cedar Candyview game, but those 2 games between you guys, or 3 games circled every season. And what's that like from a player's perspective to play your crosstown rival?
Oh, I love that game. I mean, I live over on that end of town. Went to a little bit of elementary school over there, so I know those kids real well. And it always just adds a little bit of extra intensity to the season. Everyone kind of always looking at that game, but at the same time, we got to realize that it's just one game, and it's just we got to work hard. We got to work like that with every game, but it always just the atmosphere of that game and everything. It's always a great time.
You guys feel like Cedar flies under the radar a little bit with all the focus in Region 9 on St. George and even the new school this year and stuff? Do you feel like you guys are a little bit of an underdog, a little bit dark horse?
I think we do. We're one of the smaller teams in 4A. So, yeah, we're a little bit, feel like we're kind of fly under the radar sometimes. So, but it's what it is. And everybody says, well, you want to move out of that region? No. I hope we stay in Region 9 forever. I love coming to St. George. we go back, you guys are talking, I'm an old Cedar. I grew up Cedar-Dixie rivalry before then. That's what all it was. I can remember my senior year was Pine View's first year. So Cedar-Dixie's always been the blue, the Flyers and the Redmen played forever. So it's kind of fun. I hope we stay in it forever and they let us stay. That's what I'm hoping for. I really don't want to travel north to North St. Pete and those schools. I'd rather stay here and play rivalries that have been around for a long time.
We don't want you to go anywhere either.
Well, and I think talk about your Cedar hoops, the youth basketball movement in Cedar. I mean, with the new facility up there a couple years ago, I mean, I've got kids that have been playing up through, and I've noticed that you guys have a great youth program. It's really developed, the last 4 or 5 years, Coach?
Yes, Coach Tabbs, who's actually one of my assistants, has done a great job out there at Cedar Hoops. They get more and more kids playing. You know how it's going, a lot of traveling teams going on nowadays. Kids are playing younger and they're getting better, and it's changed the way everybody plays the game. They know each other. Talking to these three, they know everybody from everywhere now. They know who this kid is. Before, they didn't, if they weren't in your region, they weren't on an all-star team or something, you didn't know who they were until you were in high school.
I want to ask Down about your summer. Did you play on a travel team and then play high school tournaments with these guys, or how'd you balance that?
No, I played on a travel team, and then also I did some high school tournaments as well, and then just a couple camps along with that.
Is it helpful for you to play with new teammates and learn how to adjust to their tendencies and then go back to your guys? I mean, is that helpful in some ways?
Yeah, it's helpful in some ways just to just be more experienced in terms of just being able to play with different guys and in different situations, a different style of ball, because I mean it changes from every time I switch back and forth from each one.
Coach, final thoughts. I mean, where's the excitement level for you with these guys? I know you only got two upperclassmen there, but
only got two upperclassmen, but the excitement's there. They've got, they've done everything I've asked them, top to bottom. They've bought into we're going to be better defensively. We're going to play more team ball. We're going to not let the ball stick. We're going to do things. If it means I have to give up 5 points a game for us to win, they're willing to do that. So it's been great. From that point, I'm excited. Like I said, I never thought I'd be sitting in this situation, so it's kind of changed for me.
Well, you did a heck of a job today. Thanks for coming. Thanks for bringing the guys. Guys, best of luck this season. Cedar Reds here joining us, and we're not done yet. We got to take a break, but when we come back, we've got one more team. And again, if you missed any of our coverage from any of the other teams, I know we've covered a lot. And if you're just tuning in, you can go to sportsradio977.com, or you can go to the CEC TV YouTube page. You can rewatch any of our coverage from earlier today. We'll take the time out. When we come back, the new school, Crimson Ridge, joins us next.
No, I'm not busy right now. Yeah, I can talk.
We may not always play good, but when we want to look good, we come to the Dixie State Campus Store.
Located on the second floor of the Gardner Center. We'll see you there.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
Action!
You know, we may have started out small, but we were great. Families and fans rallied behind their team. The community cared, and everyone showed up to cheer. Now, we're bigger than ever. Dixie State is going to Division I.
Here we go in transition, and he
But at the end of the day, it's the community and fans that make us great. Whether you give $5 or $1,000, every dollar, every seat in the stands, every one of you can help blaze our trail to Division I athletics, because this is our team.
Where do you find the titans of classical music in St. George? Classical music on Radio St. George, 100.3 FM. Where do you find the legends of jazz? Evenings on Radio St. George, 100.3 FM.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for tuning in on radio or CEC TV, or those of you watching on sportsradio977.com. Devin Dixon, Andy Griffin, Mike McGarry, Andy Thompson, the ESPN Sports Team, bringing you another Region 9 Basketball Media Day. And one team remains, Crimson Cliffs, and they are here. And first-year school, first-year head coach, and a lot of players going to be putting on that uniform for the very first time. And Coach Winters, I want to start with you. I mean, obviously, big decision for you in the offseason to leave Dixie State and take this job and coach at Crimson, and wanted to kind of get your thoughts on that, and then tell us about this year's team and what you guys have been up to get ready for your inaugural season.
Yeah, it was an interesting offseason for me and my family. There's a lot of good things going on at Dixie State, and I'd been with Jetty for a long time as a player and a coach. But really, for me, with my family in the situation they're in, it was good for me to be able to spend a little bit more time at home. So that's been nice, not having to travel recruiting and even just games. I think for us this year, the furthest we go is Mesquite and Cedar. So, that's going to be nice. But also just the being able to start a program from scratch. I had some really good conversations with Principal Taylor, throughout the process. And so for me, being able to take a group of guys and start something brand new and establish traditions and start a program from the ground floor up was really appealing, and it's been really fun so far.
There's a lot of unknowns. We can't say how you did last year, or you don't have featured guys that average certain points. So tell us about this team and what we expect, and tell us about your starters, and tell us about who's some of the bench guys that made the roster that are going to help you this year.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. I tell this to people a lot. In the very first open gym we had I think we represented every school in the region with jerseys, maybe other than the Cedar schools. So we have guys from everywhere. Some of the other coaches have mentioned it today. We have a lot of kids from Desert Hills and Pineview. We also have some from out of St. George, and so for us, our top priority has just been getting to know each other. It's been these guys, they've played against each other, but a lot of them haven't played together. So we have a good group. We have 4 seniors on the team this year. Bowen and Jackson are 2 of them. Then we also have a handful of juniors, and then our sophomores and freshmen are good classes that our freshmen played last year at the middle school, so our sophomore class kind of stayed intact, and so this first group of juniors and seniors are going to kind of be the ones that have to make that adjustment of being able to play with kids that they've never played with before, and kind of establish that Crimson name and brand.
Normally I wouldn't even ask about this, but I'm curious about cuts, because we had a lot of influx of kids. Was it really difficult to make cuts? You want to keep some upperclassmen, but you want to develop the youth. So was that tough?
Yeah, I mean, it was hard, and for me it was great because we had a lot of interest in the program. Right from day one when we started in April, we consistently had over 40, 45 kids at open gym. Any of the spring and summer tournaments that we went to, we had 5 or 6, even up to 7 different teams. So that was great during the spring and the summer, and we had around 70 kids that tried out for the program. So we really appreciated all the kids that came and tried out. But when it came down to it, we did have to find that balance of playing this season, but also preparing for the future. And we feel like we got it right, and we got a good group of upperclassmen that are gonna lay the foundation, and then we have a really good freshman sophomore class coming up through.
You talk a little bit about tradition. Obviously, with a new school, you've got a whiteboard and it's completely clean. Have you addressed that a little bit? Are you thinking about some of the things you want to start and you want to instill into these guys in a new program?
Yeah, we've talked about it. We've done a few team activities and we've done some different stuff. Hopefully these guys understand the responsibility that they have, to start the program off right. That these are the players that the youngsters are going to look up to, and there's going to be kids that want to be Trey and Bowen and Jackson as they come to the games. And so I think they understand the responsibility, and I think they want to start the program off right and be, a team that's remembered for a long time to come over there at Crimson Cliffs.
Kind of fun to think of, the Mustang. I mean, now that's a whole new word that's thrown into the Region 9 thing, something to be proud of as you go.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I like the colors. I like the mascot. The school and the administration has done a really good job of kind of embracing it and kind of putting a story behind it and building pride, into what it means to be a Mustang. And we're in a beautiful area over there. I mean, we've got a great view out there from all over the school. We got a brand new campus. And so, we're just trying to get these kids to buy in and really kind of embrace what it means to be part of the Mustang family.
Give us a little glimpse what the jersey looks like. We haven't.
Oh, they're good looking, right? The guys, they're fire, is what they say. We got some new stuff. We got Wednesday we play Enterprise. We'll unveil our white home sets, and then we've got a couple road sets. That's the nice thing. Everything's brand new basketball, brand new hoops, brand new gym, and so we'll take care of it. But yeah, hopefully we look good.
A lot of us haven't even had an opportunity to be on campus because football didn't get a home game this year. So this will be kind of a new experience for everybody.
Yeah, it's a beautiful campus. I mean, they did a really good job. It was fun being part of the process to help design the court and the gym. And our gym's a lot like Desert Hills and Hurricanes as far as the, seating goes and just the layout of it. But, the floor looks great and they've done a really good job, getting everything ready, with the signs and the banners and the flag and all that stuff. It's going to be fun, and we're hoping, Wednesday night we can break it in the right way.
Coach, I can't remember what coach we were talking to before who said how tough you guys played them in the summer. What's some positives that you got out of this group in the summer, and some things obviously you probably need to work on?
These guys just want to play. I think for them, coming to Crimson Cliffs, that was an opportunity for them. And so, as we went through the spring and the summer, we kept things pretty simple, as far as our offense and our defense. We've built on it a little bit since then. But we just want these guys to play hard, and they'll compete. I think some of them have a little chip on their shoulder. They want to come and they want to start this thing off. And, whether, people overlook us, which I don't necessarily think they will, just because the region's so tough. But, they're familiar with a lot of these players. But I really do think that these guys just want to play, and they want to prove that they're capable of being on the court and leading their team to victories and playing hard.
Let's take an opportunity to bring in the guys here, then we'll circle back to Coach Winters, Crimson Cliffs, hanging out with us here. Trey, for you, you got minutes last year at Desert Hills. Now you're over at Crimson Cliffs. Has it been an easy transition for you?
No, I was on the fence about it all of last year. And I made the tough decision of coming to Crimson, not even knowing who the coaches were because they decided to choose after all the players chose. And then I found out that we decided on Coach Winters and Coach Lindquist and Coach Fairborn. And it's a great coaching staff, and I don't regret the decision at all.
Obviously, you're rolling a team. You're going to be one of the scorers. They're going to need some production out of you, especially from the three-point line.
Yes. Yes, Coach.
I'm just curious on the gun.
No pressure.
On the gun, 100 shots. How many you made?
I tried to shoot at least 75%, if not 80.
And Bowen, he hits 80% on occasion?
At least.
Bowen, tell me a little bit about yourself. I don't know a lot about you. I know Cooper a little bit, but I don't know you much.
Yeah, so I played for Desert Hills freshman and sophomore year. Then I kind of took a break just to kind of work on my own and do some own things because I knew I was going to come to Crimson. It's closer to my house and it's a chance to start something new. And my goal is to kind of, like what you guys said, start traditions and to, I know Coach Winters talked a lot about establishing a culture. And I think it's an excellent chance as like a upperclassman, as a senior, to influence younger kids about like a different style of play. Like we have an amazing coaching staff and they tell us all the time about these traditions we want to have, and we want people to know like what it means to be Mustang or to play for Crimson. So I just thought it would be a great opportunity to come and start something new.
Jackson, can you tell us about how you ended up as a Mustang and what your mindset is going into the season?
Yeah, of course. So I was kind of in the same boat of Bowen. I played freshman, sophomore year, and then junior year I decided to take a break, go play elsewhere. And I don't know, this season we just want to start it off right. I want to get my teammates the ball, and we just want to play as the best we can. I'm excited.
I want to throw two terms at you. You really kind of talked about it, but first thing I got, if I said the letters NKOB, would anybody know what I meant? See, I get that all the JC? Okay. It's New Kids on the Block. It's an old group. But I'm an old guy, so what the heck? No, but being the New Kids on the Block, that's the only reason I went there. Is it a bigger challenge or more excitement to be a part of a brand new program? Jackson, we'll start with you.
I think it's a lot of excitement because it's just fun being we're the first class, of course. Me and Bo are seniors, and we're just excited to get things kicked off. We're ready to start a culture, as Coach Winter says, and we're ready to embrace it. We're ready to play and have fun.
I don't know, Bo or Trey, any difference, or do you feel pretty much the same?
I feel pretty much the same. There is a small challenge of getting things started because a lot of us haven't had the opportunity to play together as like a high school team as much or as a program. And so there is going to be a challenge of getting started, but I think that all of us are so ready to start something new that it will go well and we'll be able to kind of come together because like Coach Winter said, all of us just want to play, and I think that will be good.
Trey.
Yeah, we got nothing to lose starting with a new school, so we might as well start it out in a positive way and have a positive impact.
Excellent. Good stuff.
I can't believe McGarry went boy band on us. Aerosmith or something maybe, but not New Kids.
I wouldn't work in. I had to work it in.
We talked a lot about three-pointers today with all the teams. How important is the three-point shot going to be, Coach Winters and the guys for the Mustangs? I mean, there's some great shooters around the region. Are you guys going to be able to hang with the big boys?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously one of our goals is going to be to stop that defensively, the best we can and make, people hurt us with twos. With us, we're not real big. I mean, Bowen's our biggest kid. So, there's going to be a lot of times where we're 4 out, 1 in, maybe 5 out, and we're gonna pick up the pace and we're gonna run. And we've given these guys a lot of freedom, to start, and we trust that they're gonna get a good shot. They're not gonna force it, and some of those are gonna be threes. And so I do feel like for us, if we're gonna be successful, we do have to shoot the ball well, just because we're gonna have to score in different ways than maybe some of the other teams, but these guys know, and even though we've been together for a short time, they know what a good shot is, and they're content to work for a good shot. If it comes early, then we're going to take it. If we got to work, for it, after a few passes, then that's what they'll do. But they're ready to shoot, they're ready to score, and I really like that these guys, at least right now, they don't care who scores, they don't care who shoots. We're just looking to get the best shot that we can.
Earlier today, Coach Roberts from Dixie made an interesting comment about the RPI. Normally you want to play a lot of underclassmen, see who's ready to take on an increased load when you get to region play. But with the RPI, you got to win now because every game matters. How are you going to try to balance that at Crimson?
We haven't played a game yet, so we are going to have to figure out some things. We've tried to mix up our teams every day in practice to figure out combinations and things like that, but we're going to take it game by game, and we're going to have to play some guys different minutes. I already tell these guys that they're all going to foul out, right? They can't keep their hands off anybody in practice. So, it's just so early in the season. There's going to be a lot of, our rotation might be a little bit longer these first few games, which is scary because our second game is a region game. We'll figure it out. It might take us a minute, but I feel like we'll be ready to play Wednesday and then ready for Snow Canyon next week.
I'm curious, going back to kind of coming together for this first year, what was it like, kids from Dixie, Desert Hills, Pineview? How long did it take to kind of see everybody as Mustangs or whatever? Trey, I'll ask you first.
Well, During the summer, I kind of knew everybody. But over the summer, like playing summer games and stuff, I think it just really just brought us together because we had no other choice but to play as a team.
Sure.
Can you still dunk, Casey?
If I have enough time to stretch and maybe if I lose a few pounds, I can. I did throw one down. My goal is to dunk every year, at least till I'm 40, and I got a lot of work to do to make that goal.
I'm trying to think. No other coach in the region can dunk anymore, right? I mean,
Maybe Eves, maybe.
No.
Give him a trampoline, those mini trampolines. He's got it. Coach, I'm curious. You coached at Bear River, you played for Juddy, and then you were back at Dixie State. How much of a college scheme, offense and defensively, are you going to try to utilize? How much are you going to pick from what you used to do at the high school level, or is it going to be a kind of a mixture?
Yeah, it's going to be a mixture. You know, the thing that I really learned and I kind of have to pull the reins back on myself a little bit just because you see so much good stuff, you know, on TV, on games, on Twitter. You know, it seemed like every team we played in the RMAC and the Pac West had a different philosophy and a different scheme. So I was able to pick different things. You know, obviously what Coach Judkins does is successful, and I did that as a player, so that's kind of what's home for me. So it's a little bit of everything. You know, I think we'll have a little more continuity than maybe you see with Coach Judkins' offense. You know, with ball screens, and you'll see a lot of the same actions over and over again until we get that good shot. So we've kind of taken some things that I've seen around and really liked and tried to kind of make it our own.
Just quickly, Bo, how tall are you?
6'4".
6'4", and you're the biggest guy on your team?
Yeah, there's another kid that's 6'4" as well.
Put you right in with the rest of Region 9. Well, except for maybe one or two guys.
Receiver,
yeah.
But the big guys inside about also, that got to make you feel good. You got some guys that are at least your size you're going up against a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I know. I feel like our team is going to be more of like a fast-paced team, and it's not going to be as reliant on an old-school big man. Which is good for me. I like to get out and run, so I think that we'll be able to do well.
Cool.
Final thoughts, Coach?
No, we're just excited for the season. You know, we appreciate you guys, you know, allowing us to be here, and we're real excited for our first game Wednesday night against Enterprise at home. It's something we've talked about, you know, since April, and it's finally here. I know the guys are as excited as I am, and so we're just excited for, you know, a good, competitive first season.
It'll be fun. Crimson Cliffs Mustangs, everybody. Coach Winters, guys, best of luck this season. Thanks for coming and sharing some time with us.
Thank
and again,
you.
Coach said Wednesday, December 4th. That's this Wednesday. And then next Tuesday, first region game, just our second game of the season, and they got Snow Canyon. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, we're done with all of the teams, but we're going to have our vote tally and some of the preseason awards to kind of hand out, and then we'll give you our thoughts on some of the comments from all the coaches earlier today. Again, want to remind everybody, if you missed anything, you can go to the CEC YouTube page, or you can go to sportsradio977.com, and you can watch any of your favorite teams if you missed it live. We'll take the break, back with the final segment after this.
1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. That means it could be you, your dog walker,
On your left.
your cat jogger. With early diagnosis, pre-diabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org.
I got you right where I want you. I make this one. It's over. I win.
No pressure. Bring it.
We may not always play good, but when we want to look good, we come to the Dixie State campus store.
Located on the second floor of the Gardner Center. We'll see you there.
Radio Dixie 91.3. We don't play that. Nope, not that. A big fat no there. That's what we play. And stuff like that. On St. George's only alternative, Radio Dixie 91.3. Oh, and from 9 till midnight, we play this. I need a one dance. And this. Radio Dixie 91.3 FM.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
For over a century, Dixie State University has been shaping the trailblazers of tomorrow by providing a culture of active learning, active life. With a paradigm of real-world experience mixed with cutting-edge technologies and rich traditions, we provide one of the most affordable educations in the West, set against the most stunning backdrop on the planet.
All right, man, need you to go deep.
All right, I'll catch this one, I promise. Post route, back of the end zone.
Got it, let's do it.
We may not always play good, but when we want to look good, we come to the Dixie State campus store.
Located on the second floor of the Gardner Center. We'll see you there.
You know, we may have started out small, but we were great. Families and fans rallied behind their team. The community cared, and everyone showed up to cheer. Now, we're bigger than ever. Dixie State is going to Division I.
Here we go in transition, and he throws it down with one hand. Catch me!
But at the end of the day, it's the community and fans that make us great. Whether you give $5 or $1,000, every dollar, every seat in the stands, every one of you can help blaze our trail to Division I athletics. Because this is our team.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
There is a place where the sun doesn't hide in the winter, where the greens stay green and the crimson canyons still glow. There is a place where dimples determine destiny, and a tiny wooden tee holds the outcome in the balance. There is a place where we drive for show, putt for dough, and settle the score with another round. There is a place.
And welcome back here on 97.7 ESPN and CEC TV. Devin Dixon, Mike McGarry, Andy Griffin. Andy's our extraordinaire with the preseason order finish and all the balloting. So we're going to give him just a couple of minutes to kind of put all of that together for you in our wrap-up segment. First of all, been a lot of fun today. I want to thank a couple sponsors, Coral Desert Orthopedics and Bucks Ace Hardware. And a big thanks to Bloomington Country Club. I'm headed to Bloomington right here in a matter of minutes. We're going to have another watch party over there. Seahawks Vikings tonight. Hope you can join us. It's open to the public. Memberships for golf, tennis, restaurant, the pool start as little as $50 a month. So check it out. It's a fantastic place to be. And also appreciate Intermountain St. George Acceleration. They've kind of retitled it Intermountain Sports Performance. And they've got a second location at Nets on Fire. And they've got an open house on Wednesday night, and they've been a big sponsor of our Media Day coverage today. If you have young athletes that want to build speed, agility, power, strength, you got to check out their second location, over 5,200 square feet. Again, public invited. We're going to do the show over there from 4 to 6 on Wednesday, and then from 6 to 8 p.m. we'll have the open house. There'll be some giveaways, some light refreshments, and you can get a huge discount on a 22-session training package for your young athletes for whatever sport they play. All right, want to bring Mike in for just a second here. Mike, and just kind of give me what stood out to you. This was a lot of fun today and a lot of interesting things that really resonate.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Every year, I kind of wonder, how's it going to be this year? What are we going to find out? And every year it turns out to be just flat good stuff. It's so fun to see the coaches. Kind of hard to believe, I'll admit, though, that the longest tenure coach is now, 8, 9 years, 7 or 8 years, something like that. But I guess the thing that stuck out to me once again is this region is good, tough, and up for grabs, Devin. I don't know that I could look at this. Yeah, we voted. We'll get through the account here in just a couple of minutes. But I think every team really has a good shot at having a good season. Now, it'll shake out. There will be those at the top and those at the bottom, as it usually goes. But I like the representation of the kids that we had this year. I thought they were all sharp. They are buying into what their coaches are selling, and that's a key.
I thought, a couple of things. I mean, if you would put a word or a short phrase with every team, Pineview's got experience. Dixie's got athletic shooters. Cedar's got length. Crimson's got an up-tempo, speedy lineup, it sounds like, with not a lot of bigs. Huracan's got actually quite a bit of experience. And they've got shooters. That was the one word coach said. And I can't disagree with Daxton Daly and Bryce Thomas and some of those kids. They can flat out shoot it. The Warriors, I think, are working on defense. That's something that we've always known through the years that they hung their hat on. They got away from that a little bit. Mitch is trying to bring that back, but they've got some transition players like Cole Warner that can score. So you got and Canyon View, they're just scrappy, and they're shooters too. You heard what Coach Winter said, or was it Coach Turley? You don't bring your best stuff, and Canyon View beats you.
That's right.
It's an interesting note that them and Dixie are the ones that have been in the playoffs the 4 last consecutive years, and you kind of overlook Canyon View, but they're good. All right, let's bring back in Andy Griffin. Andy, what do we got, man? Let's talk about some of the. Let's start with You want to start with the preseason poll, or do you want to start with the preseason first team?
Let's do the poll. Pineview with 8 first place votes out of 12 ballots is picked to finish number 1 in Region 9. In fact, the other 4 ballots, they didn't get a number 1, they got a number 2. So obviously, team won region last year. Yep. They finished 10-2 a season ago, and they have all 5 starters back. Of course, you got to pick them number 1. Dixie, number 2. They were second place last year as well. They had 3 first place votes, finished with 81 points overall. And then let's move down to number 3, Cedar. Cedar picked to finish 3rd with 67 overall points. The only other team besides Dixie and Pineview that didn't get that got a first place vote. And with Dallin Grant, arguably the best player in the region, doesn't surprise me. Desert Hills picked to finish 4th with 61 points. 5th, Huracan. 6th, Snow Canyon. 7th, Canyon View. And 8th, Crimson, just 1 point behind Canyon View. So I think the voting reflects the fact that usually you have the haves and the have-nots. This year, I think there's a lot. I think every team, I really felt like every team had some good players and will win some games. I don't see anybody going 0-14.
No, I think you heard wide open a lot. It's wide open. Any given night, anything can happen. I've been saying that for years. Expect the unexpected in Region 9, and that's going to be the case. I think Crimson's, we saw their football team get 1 win. We know there's more games than a basketball season, but I'd be shocked if they only had 1 region win. Coach Winters is a heck of a coach. Talk about a great hire at the high school level with all the knowledge, and he's not that far removed from the game. He's going to relate to the players, and then the guys that he's brought. Coach Fairborn was there at Pineview for some time, and Coach Lindquist. Ben played at Pineview High School back in the day for Coach Lynn, and then he played for the Oregon Ducks, took him to an Elite 8 1 year, and was part of that team with Luke Jackson, Luke Ridenour. So there's a lot of knowledge on that staff. They're going to come hungry every single night.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think, an interesting experience there. I was part of a new school, West Jordan, when we broke off of Bingham High School, and all the juniors and seniors stayed at the old school. And so it was an interesting experience for me because I was, a little skinny, wet behind the ears, 15-year-old, and I was playing these guys. I remember they had full beards and stuff, and I'm like, what are these guys, like 30 years old? I was scared to death, but we didn't win a game in football that first year, but we were competitive in basketball, and I think Crimson Cliffs has the opportunity to be competitive and win some games. And remember, in this new era of RPI, you got some chance to make some noise in the postseason. Maybe they come in as a 20 out of 22, but you come in maybe playing an 11 or a 13 or something and win a game or 2.
The most interesting one for me is probably Cedar, because Cedar finished 7th last year.
Right.
And I know Dallin Grant was in and out of the lineup.
It was kind of without him, though.
Yeah, but they've got some other players there. But then you make the coaching change. So they must have, a lot of the other coaches that vote, a lot of people must have saw that this team is a team that can make that kind of jump after a down season. That's the one that kind of surprised me the most as far as how high Cedar was in the preseason poll.
And I think it's going to be interesting because obviously within the region you got two teams that are first-year coaches. Of course, the brand new school, and then Cedar. And, the new guy, not new coach around him, but he's the new guy. I think there's some real unknowns there, and so I think that'll be something to see. And then you look at the old, was it Coach Turley? 8 years. Yep. I think he's got the most seniority.
I think Potter's 9, Turley's
that's right.
8, because
right there too.
Langston's 7.
Yep, Langston 7. If you count all the time Coach Turley had at Pineview and transferred it over, he's been coaching a long time. There's no question. But yeah, we've seen coaches come and go. I mean, you got a couple second-year coaches. Coach Eves is a fourth-year guy. But is at state champions.
Well, I think the coaches we're seeing, and even though they've only had 3 or 4 years, that's where I was going to kind of go with that. They've been at that program a long time. Yeah. I mean, with Eves and with the Dixie coach, they've been there several years. While even Cedar, all of them, So I think the really only new guy is, of course, Winters. And yet he's been around the area. I just think it's going to be fun. I think there's a lot that we are going to be surprised with this year. And I'll just say we're going to see some great basketball.
What was the biggest surprise for you, AG, when you tallied them up?
I actually thought Snow Canyon would get a little higher in the voting. I think Coach Meacham is an underrated coach, and I think he's going to really do some great things there. I think Cole Warner is a dynamic basketball player. Now they're going to depend on like a freshman and a sophomore to come through and really do some things for them. But I was a little bit surprised that Snow Canyon wasn't a little higher on the voting list. I actually had him. I think I had him second or third on my list. I believe in Coach Meacham. He developed a really great program up north in American Fork.
They're just going to have to get some big minutes from Walker Morrison, because there's going to be nights if McKay Meacham and Cole Warner aren't scoring that Morrison's going to have to score, or they're going to have to be feeding the post, and the freshman Lyman Simmons is going to have to score, or Boom Dalton's going to have to, They were a tale of two halves last year, as we talked about when they were here. And Park City's a good team. They lost by 8. They're the only Region 9 team that's played a game so far. And I think that there was a quiet sense of confidence around Snow Canyon this year. But you get that with all the teams. There's always excitement for everybody right now. Everybody's got a blank slate for the most part.
Yeah. The other thing is, Desert Hills, they had a down year last year.
But they were developing.
But number one, they were really young. And number two, Desert Hills has a tradition of being very, very good year in and year out. And I would say the down year is the anomaly. I don't think this is a trend. I don't think Desert Hills is going to be down for very long. And I see them. They lost some people with Crimson Cliffs opening up and stuff.
But it sounds like everybody lost some people with Crimson Cliffs.
And I think Desert Hills is going to be a good basketball team this year. I really do.
They kind of have a more complete starting 5, because you look at an athletic 2 like Mason Chase. You got a distributor in Peyton Holmes that's a year older and more mature, and now a junior. You got two true bigs with Marchant and Munson, and then you got a guy that's just a blue collar, I'll do anything for the team guy like Mortensen. And then what do you call the Bark?
The Bart Special.
The mid-range game. I can't wait to see that. So, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think the one thing that all the coaches kind of resonated is you better be ready or you're going to lose on a given night. If you have a little bit of a lapse where you go 4 or 5 minutes with a scoring drought, you find yourself double digits like that, and it might be too big of a hill to overcome. The gyms are going to be packed. We're going to have some fun calls on the radio this year. This might be one of the most exciting preseasons because of the parity that looks like. Even with the new school, I think there's a lot of parity.
I would like, before we get into the players, I would like to see which one is our Inigo Montoya guy. And what I mean by that, remember that scene in Princess Bride when they're sword fighting and they're both fighting left-handed?
And right-handed.
And Inigo says, it was smiling. He says, why are you smiling? He says, I know something you don't know. I'm not left-handed. And, of course, then he switched to right hand. It turned out that Wesley was also right-handed. But was there a coach, was there some players today that maybe had that feeling that they know something we don't know? Is it Meacham? Was it someone else?
I would say it's Coach Langston for me out there in Huracan. I really love Bryce Thomas's game. And I know they lost Dominic Scott and they lost some other seniors. But that junior class is a really good class. And I think that Huracan is going to be right there. I think I had Huracan 4th in my poll. And so I think, for me, it's Coach Langston. I think that team is the one that I would be watching out for if I'm the rest of the Region 9 coaches. Not to say the other ones can't upset you on a given night, but I can't wait for that story to be written if I'm right, because I think they're going to be really competitive every single night.
And what's funny is we think of that as a surprise or a shock. They were a playoff team last year.
Right.
That was a good team last
Right.
year. We keep forgetting about that, or
Well,
at least I do.
your point about Jackson Last was great because you see these kids that are like Coach Potter's kids that are in a picture when the team's celebrating after a win.
Yeah.
You know, that culture is there. The only team that doesn't have an established culture, and I'm not worried about Coach Winters one bit, they're going to establish one, is Crimson Cliff. So, you know, it's not like football where you guys remember our Region 9 football media day. It was like every team was saying, we got to build the culture. We got to commit to the weight room. I kept hearing that. Not in basketball. I think the cultures are really built. Even Coach Mitch in just his second year has already built a culture over there, and they're moving in the right direction.
I'd say the one sneaky guy might be Coach Esplin.
Yeah.
At Cedar. I really do. And he said, we're losing this guy, we're losing this guy. But he's been around so much. He knows the culture. He knows the kids. He knows what's going on. And he's got a couple of pretty doggone good players.
I'll tell you, that Zab Santana kid
he is fantastic.
Was the best freshman in the region last year.
I agree.
So,
I agree.
You know, and then you get a healthy Dallin Grant. Even though you don't get Dallin Peterson with the, you know, he had a couple ACLs. I understand that. It's too much on a young body. So, all right, let's move on to our all region. Let's talk about the players who makes, you know, the MVP, who to come down to, and let's talk about the rest of the first team.
All right, first thing to note, there were no player on all 12 ballots.
Really?
In fact, there were no player on 11 of the 12 ballots.
Wow.
There was a couple of guys that were on 10 of them.
So no unanimous is what you're saying.
No unanimous all-region picks, which surprises me a little bit considering some of the guys that we met throughout the day today. Your all-region co-preseason MVPs are Jared Sudweeks of Pineview and Dallin Grant of Cedar. Your reaction, Devin?
I'm not surprised. I mean, Suds is a pure shooter. I mean, he carried that team with his three-point shooting in certain games. He's good. And Grant, even though it was an injury real season, he's probably getting the most hype at the next level, and people know that. And he's an athletic big that can, in this region, post you up, but he can also hit that three-pointer in your eye. He's a toughest guard as there is in Region 9, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's a big with guard skills, and perhaps maybe the first time ever the co-MVPs of Region 9 were both redheads. I'm just saying, it's strange, right?
It is. Last year, the two best players on Cedar had the same first name. But that's a whole other story. Anyway.
That's true. Let's go on the rest of the region. Well, I don't know. Do you want to say anything else about those two guys before we?
Well, here's the thing with Suds. Suds gets a lot of attention, but that whole starting five is back at Pineview. So I actually had four Panthers on my, and now granted I put a few more than probably other coaches did on the list.
I gave him 6 spots. He put 12 or 13 or
it was like 16.
Oh,
guys.
16. Yeah.
But there's, I mean, I didn't want to leave Shepard off, and I didn't want to leave Michael Moore off, and so I had multiple flyers on our Pineview Panthers on my preseason ballot.
All right, so those two, again, Sudweeks and Grant, the preseason co-MVPs, and then all these other guys got a lot of votes. This is 5 or more votes, 9 votes for Mason Chase, Desert Hills, 9 votes for Cole Warner of Snow Canyon, 8 votes for Michael Moore of Pineview, and then let's see, 7 for Bryce Thomas.
Yep.
Huracan. Trevor Farrow got 6, Jordan Matthews got 6, and Isaac Finlinson got 5. I think that's everybody that got 5 or more right there. So those I would consider them all first teamers.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see Bryce Thomas on that list because I love when I show up at the Tigers Den and I get to call the action with the baby-faced assassin because you never know what he's going to come up with. His ball handling and his speed of the game, and then to transition into a pass or a jump shot. So I'm glad to see he got recognized because he's very deserving in my opinion.
Did I mention Finlinson?
He's the one guy that as a sophomore really probably was the most consistent in the region last year. His shooting was noted. You had to get he would come off the bench and instant offense.
Oh yeah.
Game after game after game. And now to think he's a year older and he's got up more and more jumpers and is probably better than you think at finishing. He's actually really long and lanky, so he's a great player. He could be top 5 in scoring by the end of the season.
I agree. Some years we're okay on these picks. Some years we're a little. I like this year's picks. I really do. I think the guys that you just mentioned. Of course, they're probably the guys I put on my ballot. No, I'm just kidding.
There's probably some that are deserving that got left off,
I think they are very deserving of getting on that ballot. And again, I'm sure there'll be 1 or 2 more sneak up there.
We're short on time. Let me mention the guys that at least got 1 vote or more. Ryan Hopper of Pineview, Jared Kohler of Pineview, Taven Shepard got 2 votes from Pineview. Lemke got a couple of votes. Ethan Bennett, 2 votes. Zab Santana, not Zeb Zab. Jace Mortensen, Reggie Newby, Keegan Munson got a couple of votes. Meacham, of course, from Snow Canyon. Rock Hill. Trey Rock Hill.
You got 3 or 4 votes?
Yeah. Dallin Daly, TJ Minor, Read my own handwriting. Morrison, Peterson, and Schneider. Those are all the guys got at least one vote and deserve honoring. I'm pumped. I think it's going to be a fantastic. I think the quality of basketball in Region 9 this year is going to be better than it's been in a little while.
Well, and that's good because we've had trouble getting that state championship back down here the last couple of years. You know, Skyview is the state champion. I'm excited to see these early season games. Dixie and Desert Hill or Pineview. They're going up to this tournament up there.
Yeah,
they got Skyview.
Pineview. Oh yeah.
Oh, north versus south.
Yeah, north
and that'll
south,
be a huge factor in the RPIs.
Yes,
it's here.
Yes, indeed. We've had way too much fun today. Hope you've had fun watching or listening. Again, shout out to our CEC TV crew. Thank you to Marcus, Lauren, James, Dave, everybody, our cameramen and women. Martin back in the ESPN studio. Thanks to Bucks Ace Hardware, Coral Desert Orthopedics. Anytime we go out live, they're our sponsor. And our special exclusive Media Day sponsors, the new Sports Performance at Nets on Fire, grand opening on Wednesday. Hope you can go. And then our friends at Bloomington Country Club. Good night. Let's get you out to Monday Night Football on radio.